YouTube. This is FleurBrun coming to you today with a new topic of discussion. Ah, after yesterday, I look, I look a hot mess. I love this hat. I've had this hat. Many of you known me for a long time. I've had this hat forever. I lost my other hat. I don't know where my other hat is. I have the other hat, which many of you know. I love my. This hat is like a classic FleurBrun hat. Peace to the east. So hey Jennifer. Hey beautiful Jennifer. Thank you. This is called throwing your hat. Brush your hair. Well, I don't brush my hair. I stopped brushing my hair when I had children. Anytime I brush my hair is in the shower. It's a shame, right? TMI. Too much information. Big up to all the sun stars who still rock with me after yesterday's message. Let me just say to this, big up to all my sun stars who still rock with me after yesterday. Woo, family. The messages I got. Wow. You would have thought I was like a sniper. Snipers no sniping. Snipers no sniping. Swipe. Oh, his name is Swiper. Swiper no swiping. All the mommies know what I'm talking about. Swiper no swiping. Please put a like in the video. Oh, you rock with me harder. Listen, it was the message yesterday. Is actually a benefit to males because women have been so tragically abused. A woman healthy would make everyone so happy. Could you imagine having women that smile daily, effortlessly? Could you imagine a world where women feel peaceful and honored and in their highest and greatest, sense of purpose? The world would be a better place. I'm just saying. So for the men, I always say to you, for us to be healthier, that's what you want, because we create havoc when we're unhealthy. We are the weapon of mass destruction when we're not well. I'm just saying. As much as we may talk about men engaging in certain ways, the effect it has on women come out much more overtly in how things show up in the system. So I'm just saying, big up to all my sun stars. I love you. Y'all rock with me for a long time. Listen, that's what I'm saying. Some of our sun stars have rocked me for so long. They're so used to me. Even yesterday with the 50,000 messages I got. Some are amazing. Someone's husband contacted me yesterday. I'm gonna blow his spot because I just think you're sad. Someone's husband contacted me yesterday and was like, listen, FleurBrun, my wife has left me because of you. And I was like, who are you talking about? He was like, he told me the name. I was like, what does that have to do with me? You are making videos promoting for women to get rid of their husbands, telling women that men are garbage. I said, have you ever listened to one of my videos? I said, before you contact me, sir, why don't you watch the video? Maybe not yesterday's video. Why don't you watch one of my videos and then come back to me? He was like, I don't have to watch that garbage. You feminists are out of control. She's left me. She took the children and it's your fault and I'm making you accountable. I said, listen, first of all, I have zero to do with your wife leaving. He was like, I know she told you I'm beating her and it isn't true. I said, sir, your wife has never told me that you beat her. So apparently you're disclosing your own sicknesses because she didn't tell me that you were hitting her. You just told me that. She never mentioned any such thing. So he got quiet. He got quiet because he blew his own spot. And I said, listen, if you love your wife and your family, you need to be healthy and in your heightened state of awareness. If you love her and it's so much energy you're putting towards me because you're angry at me, why don't you take that energy, sir, and work on self? And if you, sir, stop drinking, dropping it like it's hot with all these weapons of mass accoutrement down the road that's affecting your relationship with your wife, and lay your hands on yourself as opposed to your mate, perhaps she will reevaluate the relationship. But please don't contact me on some nonsense. You affect your relationships, people. I won't ever tell you to leave someone, but I will tell you to love yourself enough. Love yourself enough to uphold yourself in a way that you are you're living with self-love. That's it. telling people he can't. He had me mistaken. I was like, this is not the one. I was like, you gave too many details. She didn't tell me that. You told me that. Got all kinds of ratcheries coming around your wife, calling her. Why should she tolerate that? She's a beautiful woman. She's healthy, successful. She's educated. She's still in her prime. Why should she tolerate, your insecurities, sir? She can be with an alpha who's massively secure and probably has a non-infected wand, who doesn't have a community wand. There isn't a healthy woman that wants a community wand. Okay? I personally like wands for myself. I like a wand that is just mine. that only I can utilize and is healthy. Yeah, I'm just saying. Anyway, so big up to all my sun stars. I just shared that story because it was crazy. I was like, please put a like on the video if you're coming here. I just, Anyway, blissful 2012, y'all. We made it to 2012. You hate community wands? Me too. Who wants a community wand? That's like a community yoni. Who wants a yoni that everybody has seen, touched, scented, everything? They're just common sense. Women don't want anything men don't want. This is where we have to have a rational conversation. Women don't want most of the things men have an issue with, women have an issue with too. When men want us to look our greatest and have self-confidence, we like that too. When women like a certain type of discretion that you gentlemen want, we want that too. And we certainly don't want anyone all over our wand, just like you wouldn't want everyone all over our yoni. It's a give and take, equal give and take, sir. Big up to those in the room today. Blissful 2012 family. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. So it's interesting because yesterday after the live, I went out and I got a huge, like a ding in my ear, but the ding stayed for like 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. It was the longest time I've had like that kind of, usually when you get that kind of transmission, it's usually short. You get a ringing in your ear and it kind of fades off. This one was like a big roaring, and it was just in this ear. The whole ear went mute. And I just pulled over to the side of the road and took in the download or upload, whatever you think it is. And just kept it moving after that. So I was highly supported with the message. I wasn't as clear with the message as possible. Sometimes I just keep it so real. I'm not an editor. I'm a real person. So when I give you messages, it's not, I don't orchestrate my lives. I don't plan it. I just give it to you raw and as it is. I'm just that kind of person. I'm a little more seasoned too. I don't do all that, planning, plotting things. When I share things with you, I share it from the perspective of just reality, just what's going on. But today is 2012, the beginning of 2012, according to the Ethiopian and Hebrew calendar. Big shalom to our beautiful Hebrew sect. Our Hebrew Israelites are also part of this feed as well. Big up to y'all. So it's interesting that today felt a little differently. Like even in my dream state, I was having dreams of getting on a huge boat or getting ready to go on a boat. And of these beautiful orcas. Orcas eat people and seals, right? But they were in the waterways and I had to go over a long bridge to get there. A bridge with no sides. Driving. And it was a beautiful dream, but it was very telling. You were Charles Manson in your dream? Remember, Charles Manson talks about helter skelter. That's interesting that you said that. Shalom, love. That's interesting that you said you were Charles Manson, because Charles Manson, if we get into that, that's so relative. Do you realize how relative that was that you dreamt that? Because remember, he predicted this time. As crazy and as a sociopath as he was portrayed, which he was, he actually hey Carlos, it was the emergency broadcast system ringing in my ear. I think so, Carlos. They probably have us all chipped. Charles Manson actually predicted this particular time, helter skelter. If you talk about, I think you've heard me. If you guys have been a part of me for a while, please put a like on the video if you come in the room. I just appreciate it when you come in. If you've listened to Charles Manson, and I think many of you've been with me for a while. For those who've been with me for years, this is probably nothing new. But for those who are just joining me, remember that he talks about the White Album from the Beatles. Now, the Beatles the White Album, he said had subliminal messages. That's where he got the concept, especially with Helter Skelter. And when he heard the hidden messages, he said it was about a race war, where the Brown and the Lunars would have a war, and then there would be the Browns would win, but then they would lose control because they're so savage or something like that. You know, I'm breaking it down. Just, you know, that's pretty much what he was saying. But he talks about the time when there would be a war. And I don't think he's incorrect. I think as far as race, because if I break down what he says, race, we know that, first of all, there aren't different races. I'm sorry, complexions. There's different complexion people. Like I've talked to you before. I've worked in heredity. This I know certain. I can have a lunar. I'm O positive. Big up to all the O positives in the house. I'm a positive O positive roost. My homegirls that are lunar and my homeboys that are lunar can be O positive. It means that we share the same genealogy. We have common ancestors. That's why I'm saying there's no such thing as different races. Now, when you get negative and positive, I would consider that interspecies. That's a different species. When you start getting into races, they're talking about ETs. So we got to be careful in his verbiage, because he could have gotten, I know he did get the download, but as far as different races, I think he's talking about the Andromedans and the Lyrians who are coming back, who are basically battling it out for Mother Tiamat, for the home space. So I take it a little differently. So I agree that he said that there would be a race war, but I think he just interpreted it because, remember, the verbiage is bastardized. The English language has been bastardized. Let me take this out. Look at all my rooses. Big up to all the rooses in the house. Big up to all the humans, the earthlings in the house. I see a lot of earthlings here. Some of you may not be either of those rooses. You may not be an A, B, O. You might be like E, F, X. Big up to all our anomalies in the house. I appreciate you all. You all are relative and you're all important. Don't ever let anyone make you feel different because you have green skin or you have patches on your skin or you're coming from another galaxy. You're just as relative, because if you contribute to this earth plane, that means you're just as important. Everybody's always talking about, you know, races. There aren't any races. You know, that's also a eugenicist statement too. Be careful. So for the young lady who talked about young man who dreamt about being Charles Manson, it's very interesting because he had a concept. 2012 is a shift, a paradigm shift. That's basically the kickoff. Now, the Gregorian calendar said it was 2012, what, 8 years ago? What is it, 2019? Oh, no, 7 years ago? It was 2012 according to the Gregorian calendar. I disagree. I more so go by a solar calendar, and I do more so feel in alignment with, oh, we got Lyrians in the house. Hey, Andrea, that's what I'm talking about. Lyrians are showing up. Let me just sidebar. My aversion, I used to be allergic to cats. Do you realize now my allergy to cats has left the building? I used to have a huge allergy to the dander of cats. Since the Lyrians have touched ground, my allergy to cats has left. My allergy is gone. Okay? So during the 2012 shift is the kickoff of us going fully into a new paradigm. Basically, we should see a quickening now. Family, I'm going to bring up some very interesting things, and I want you to take fear out of your perspective. We are a collective here. If you come in the room, please put a like on the video. I'd appreciate it. We're a collective here, and do know that there isn't anything that you should fear if you have a soul. Okay, the only ones who really are affected by life changing or losing their life are those who don't have souls. Because when they check out of their hotel, they literally check out. There isn't any coming back. Okay, so having a soul makes you ultimately a multi multi-dimensional traveler. You come in and out. You're because energy doesn't dissipate. It just changes form. Okay, so just know that when I share with you what I'm going to share with you, I want you to take fear out of it. It isn't anything to fear. I always take the advantage that I prefer to know than to have a lack of knowing, because you can't change what you don't acknowledge, and you aren't able to make sound decisions if you are unaware of basic things. Okay, so when I bring up 2012 and the occurrences that come along with 2012, I want to make sure that you stay very grounded. Listen, and it does not have to be what you accept. Remember, I am my own person. I share from the perspective that I know, and you always know I wouldn't ever project or force you to take on my own personal belief systems. It is in my personality. Okay, so when you come to this collective, to this group, always know everything is free will in this room, and that's why I'm okay with different opinions in this room. I actually appreciate it. Big up to our sun stars who actually shared their opinions yesterday, and I appreciate it, because a lot of times you'll go to certain rooms and they'll delete comments or they'll delete people's opinions. Why? If I'm secure with me, hearing your opinion shouldn't phase it, or it should maybe even make me rethink, oh wow, okay, that's a different perspective I didn't see from. Let me take a look at that. Okay, that's just being a little more balanced and having a little more intelligence. When people are very, very cut and disallowed from other opinions, it means they're not secure in their own. Okay, or they're not vetted. That could come with experience too. I'm a woman of a certain age, been here, done that. Okay, when I was younger, it's a little different. So a FleurBrun maybe 20 years ago, maybe a little different. Okay, this is a FleurBrun you see today. Okay, if you meet the FleurBrun from yesterday, you travel in the past. FleurBrun from 20 years ago is a little different. So just know that my perspective from 20 years ago would be a little different because I'm a little more vetted. All right. Okay, so 2012 is upon us, family. According to the Hebrew calendar, this comes with shifts. The magnetic fields will change. We are in full pole shift mode. What does that mean? Now, for many of you who had the opportunity to check Yellowstone's condition, we are now in full-blown Yellowstone overload. Yellowstone is getting numerous earthquakes daily. There is a part of Yellowstone that is so hot that all of the animals have migrated out of that region, and also I think they've closed it off. According to the Intellis, they have closed off certain areas of Yellowstone because of the seismic activity, and also the what looks like some heating going on from underground magma that has become loosened. Okay, that is now like a free radical going under certain parts, heating up the area. Okay. Because of that, we discussed, big up to my Caribbean sea star, who's actually from, she's from Trinidad. Was it Trinidad? Sea star, please forgive me. I think it was Trinidad. Is it Trinidad? I think it's Trinidad. We were talking back and forth, and one of the things that I always discussed is, many people don't know, underneath the Caribbean now, many of you know my family is from, originally they migrated out of South America, but they've lived in Martinique and St. Lucia for a long time. So Martinique has the Pitons. Pitons on the other side, very big mountains. And we also have a non-active volcano on Martinique. Now, many of you know Montserrat had a volcano eruption many, many years ago, where the entire island became destabilized and uninhabitable, and everybody was moved off of Montserrat. You won't hear anybody from Montserrat who's living there now. I think some people have decided to go back at this point. I think there's a few. But for most part, many people left there. Underneath the islands is one complete volcano. That is why when Bahamas, big up to our Bahamians, because I want to get into this as well, our beautiful Bahamas people. Thank you for all those who are donating to the different places. Let me state this first. Thank you for all those who are donating lots of goods to the Bahamian people and not using the bigger companies to be able to do so. If you have the opportunity and you have the resources, please, I ask that some of the churches are doing a phenomenal job. This is where I advocate. I really am a fan of churches. They're really doing a great job. Please make sure you donate. The little people need clothing. You know, I'm always that. There needs to be food, scent, dried food. What else did they say? Some linens are needed. Puerto Rico's in the house. Hey, Serena. You know, our Puerto Rican family is still recovering from the hurricane. Still, right, Serena? My homies in Puerto Rico say it's still places where they're still having residuals from the storm. And this is years later. So, not the Red Cross. I just say this is my opinion. I don't want to, you know, I got to be careful publicly because they're so litigious. Publicly, I just say, please, there's churches that are giving to there's personal people that are giving. Please donate. What I'll do is I'll give a few places. There's different places based on where you live. So it's hard for me to give a place per se because the bigger conglomerates, they're big and I don't trust them. But I trust on-site churches and personal people, like groups that are like schools are doing it. Okay, Jacksonville, Florida. Oh, Jacksonville, you have your schools doing it. Like the schools over here are doing it. You can donate via the schools. The schools are safe. Houston, Texas, also you're doing it through what is it called? I think Texas you have Missionary House. I think it's Missionary House. But please check locally. I can't give the bigger ones because again, I don't trust them, but I know the local places are doing their job. Broward County School, Broward County, you guys are doing it. You guys are doing it via the schools. You can go into the high schools and the elementary schools. They're all donating. The churches also. You can go in almost any church and they are collecting for the people there. There are a lot of people who have lost their lives and it's so toxic. They need basic things. So I'll probably put a list on my Instagram later of things that would be helpful. And again, if you go to the churches and so on, I just say, do your due diligence. It's very important for us to make sure we extend our love and our compassion and also our assistance to those in that situation. And, oh, this is related to 2012. Okay, so let me not sidebar. Anyone coming in the room, please put a like on the video when you come in the room, just as a personal courtesy. I appreciate it. Let me state this, family. Big up to the Intellis. Now, many months ago, you remember me telling you something about passports. I have to get in this before I go further into the 2012. Big up to the Famille, the Intellis, who told me. Remember I told you there was a military person, I can't ever say their name, I'm not doing that, who gave me intel for people to get their passports before September. Remember that? Or by September. Now, at the time, a lot of people just assumed I was talking about being in the States, but remember, this platform is is an international platform. We have, because of my background of coming from many nations, our family are from many nations. We have so many tongues in here, so many languages, so many religions. It's beautiful. But because of that, I speak to a larger demographic of people. What's interesting about the Intellis, they said to get your passports before September or by September. When I spoke to the Intellis, he said, thank you for saying that publicly. A lot of people in the Bahamas had listened to me declaring that they should get their passports. People who had their passports on the island were allowed to leave first. Listen to me, family. Big up to the Intellis. I didn't realize that even though I was speaking from a personal perspective of saying here, the people who listened to me abroad had gotten their passports. So he said, well, he's an Intellis, so he actually is, I can't say much. There were about 20 or 30 people who listened to that telecast who actually got their passports from this group. They were the first to leave. And I got confirmation from 5 of the people saying, FleurBrun, thank you for sharing that with us, because I got my passports for myself and my children because you said that. Because I kind of felt, she said she felt it. She said, I felt inside myself that was a message for her. She was one of the first that was actually extradited off of the island because a lot of people didn't have their passports because they're so close to the States. It's not that big a deal, so they thought. She had her passports and she was one of the first. It was a group of 20 or 21 people. So big up to the Intellis who gave the intel. I tell you, family, I love the people who come and share. And it's very important that the message is not always specific to one area. It's specific to everywhere. And this is also a testament that I feel like I should share with you, because it also tells you that in that kind of scenario, someone said to me one time, why are you telling people to get passports? It's better to stay in the United States instead of something happens. It's better as long as there's not a catastrophe. Once there's a catastrophe and you are looking for other arenas just to go until everything is cleared up, you want to have choices. You want to have personal choices to be able to make decisions. If you're limited in your choices, then it's harder for you to make decisions. If something happens here, a lot of times we can leave quicker if we have a passport. Now, if you don't have a passport, you may have to wait it out and see other arenas, but always have more choices. I would say it's better to have more choices than not. Okay, that's it. So that's a confirmation to our family that listened in the Bahamas. Big up to y'all who actually listened to the broadcast. Some of them are listening now. I'm so grateful that I shared that, and I want that to be a testament to everyone that sometimes you need to just be mindful that if an intel is there just to make you aware, and it's not hurting you, it's telling you to just be resourceful, having options, that's important. So for those who haven't gotten their passports yet, this is a testament that you should do it. I don't care what country. Now we know that wasn't just for us in the States, that was for everyone. So it doesn't matter where you're from, make sure that you have your passports. Okay, so if they're ever flying people out, the ones who have passports are the ones, that's what she said. She said the ones who are allowed to leave first have their passports. Okay, let's go into 2012. So according to the islands, so my island, many of you know, my island in Martinique, which is one of the islands, oh, I'm sorry about the glare, one of the islands that my family comes from, Martinique and St. Lucia. Obviously, you know, we migrated out of South America as well. My family, many had died in Martinique in the 1930s during the eruption because they weren't able to get off of the island quick enough during a cataclysmic event that killed many people in Martinique. You can look this up. Okay, so that being said, those of us who are the offspring of those people have a very unique quality, which I've talked about. We ended up having a sensitivity to sulfur. Many people who come from places where there's volcanoes, we have a quality in our system that almost like a evolved sensitivity to sulfur. Now, many of you don't know, sulfur is what usually seeps out of the ground. Sulfur is the preamp to a volcano erupting. It comes with a volcano. So what happens to us before there's an eruption, there's a seeping out of gases that goes into the air called sulfur. It smells like eggs. Many of you who went to the sulfur springs realized that's what it smells. It smells like eggs. But what it does to us is it makes us very, very sick. It makes us want to migrate like animals out of that region. So many of the animals also have this predisposition, which is, it gives them it's like it's an innate marker that will alert them that it's time to leave a certain area. Okay, so many people in Italy, also parts of Italy, has Stromboli erupted already, have the sensitivity as well. It's not just in the islands, it's anywhere where there's volcanoes. The offspring will have that sensitivity every generation as a way. It's like a what is it called, I forgot the name of it. There's a name to that. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful quality, and I appreciate it. Okay, so that is something we have. What most don't know is when the hurricane sat over Bahamas, it triggered the volcano underneath to a sulfur version. Yes, it's a sulfur version, but it's called this something else. It's called. I'll think about it in a minute. It triggered for the super volcano under the Caribbean to start erupting. Now, there's issues going on in the Caribbean now and the other islands. Some of the volcanoes are starting to become active that weren't active. I want to talk to our Caribbean sect right now, just right now. I'm talking to everyone, but I want to talk to the Caribbean sect right now. I want you to have your plan. This is 2012, family. This is one thing that I've been prepping for over 25 years. I realize it's over 25 years. Big up to all the preppers in the house. I was just talking to a prepper at Starbucks. I love you, preppers. They thought we were cuckoo for Cocoa Pops. Remember that? Remember when they thought we were crazy because we were prepping for 2012? Well, 2012 is upon us. And as you see, Jamaica's okay, but there's a destabilization going now. Let me take that back. All the Caribbean islands are sitting. And remember, my island's more towards South America. Trinidad is towards South America. St. Lucia and Martinique and Guadeloupe, Dominica are more towards South America. Belize is over there in South America. Those islands are sitting on that same that same volcanic type of, because you'll see it underneath. They have pictures of it underneath. We're sitting there. Now, I've talked to you about, in my past life, I was associated with Edgar Cayce. Many of you have heard me talk about that, the sleeping prophet. That's why you see sometimes I'll denote certain things from him and actually have memories from certain things that he did. It's interesting that, I'm sorry, my throat is, the weather here is, you could feel the heaviness in the air. Hold on. Guyana's in South America. You guys are okay. We're talking about like, we're talking about the islands sitting on the waterways. Sorry. Whenever my grandmother used to say, whenever you're speaking truth, that happens. Big up to my granny. She's turning 103 in December. I love my granny. She actually checked on us during the storm. My 102-year-old grandmother calls me to make sure her daughter, which is me, my mother, and all of her grandchildren are safe. She calls like she was going, listen, my grandmother's gully like that. She was like, she was gonna send for the platoon to come get her family. My grandmother's amazing, and that's why some of the things that I know and that genealogy comes from my grandmother being one of the most amazing women in my life. She actually was very helpful, and that's why you have FleurBrun in a way you have me, to be honest. My mind. A lot of my mind comes from my grandmother, my abuela. Yeah. So there is super volcanoes underneath abuelitas, yes. There are super volcanoes underneath the islands. Now there's one super under all of them, but it's wide. When I say it's wide, it's miles long. Okay, so now we had a triggering effect because we're starting to see seismic activity, and not only seismic activity, we're starting to see some of the volcanoes become active. Now, let me go back to Edgar Cayce. Many of you know I've always denoted in my past life. Remember, I've converged with all my past lives. A lot of my memories are back. Not all consciously, but I remember most of my past lives to the point where I know where I was and I can collect some of that information. One of the gifts he gave me from being in that time was I came into the family of a particular sign. And this is where I say everything we choose, how we choose to come into life is very masterful. I incarnated in the bloodline of the Martinicans, those from Martinique, because that's one of the signs of when the actual flip will happen. One of the biggest signs is when Martinique, Mount Pelée, which is our volcano, when it erupts, that is that's hours before the full-on pole shift, the full-on flip. That's why FleurBrun is, I am your clue. Like Blue's Clues, I'm the clue. I'm the actual red alert. It's interesting that I came incarnated in that particular bloodline that would be a clue to those who I share this with. So my bloodline is your trigger to know what to do. When my island, Martinique, actually erupts, because that volcano has not erupted, but now all the volcanoes are getting active. When that erupts, you have hours before the full-on flip. This I know for a fact. So I've always known when that is happening, that's when you go to your safe point. Don't even ask, don't tell, even if it, listen, my thing is, it's better for you to be wrong and safe than you to be right and totally it's better for you to be wrong and safe than wrong and be in a position where you aren't able to get to a safe point of geographical, wherever you have for your stakeout. Okay, so what is safe? Okay, this is when I always tell you have to be heightened in self-awareness. Remember I told you that FleurBrun has a marker inside of myself that allows for me to know if there's going to be an eruption. It's a genetic marker. So if I have sulfur that comes around, if I start getting nauseous and so on, I'm going to want to leave a certain location. Even if you notice and you go back to the videos right before the hurricane was noticing that I was getting certain physical symptoms, but it wasn't telling me to leave. That is your marker on where to go. A lot of you already have your plan, because remember, your higher self has chosen for certain experiences in order to learn certain spiritual lessons in order to ascend to higher forms of consciousness. So you've already chosen your own plans. But that being said, safety, you have to follow your first mind. If you are having the sense to migrate right now, and it's like hitting you in all directions, and everything in your life is telling you right now, this place is not where I should live, something's happening to trigger you to leave, that's your higher mind. That's your higher mind saying to your avatar, okay, it's time for you to migrate. It's time for you to leave. If you're getting that pit in your stomach, many of you know, because a lot of us are really in sync with our higher self, with our we're heightened awareness. You ever have something happen? I've had this a lot. Like if I was like, even with my husband was up to no good. You know, he's a weapon of mass destruction. He's a Nazi. Whenever he was plotting and planning against me, I could feel it in the pit of my stomach, even before he started to display the symptoms. Before he started to display the sociopathic symptoms, I would get it in the pit of my stomach. Or if something bad was going to happen, I would feel it in my stomach. Remember, your stomach is your brain. It's actually your first brain. That's why they mess with your stomach so much. That is your intuition. Follow your first mind. And this is what I've been telling you over the last 6 years, family. 6 or 7 years. I forgot how long I've been on here. 6 and 7 years. A lot of time, I've already made the prepper video on, I think, Patreon. Yeah, I think I have. I don't know where I have it. Maybe on Patreon or Blog Talk. Or on both. I've talked about just being resourceful. It's not about being fearful. Remember, the beginning of this video, please put a like on my video when you step in the house, please. I appreciate it. At the start of my video, many of you heard me say, take fear out of the equation. It's unnecessary. You're a soul. Whatever's meant, you're everlasting. You're like a Duracell battery. You're everlasting. You'll always be here. If you have a soul, this avatar is your temporary encasement until you move on to another, state of being. Energy doesn't dissipate. It just changes, transforms. Okay? It just doesn't go away. So that being said, you'll always be fine. It's infinite. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, so you're fine. Fear only comes from living in a very matrix state of being. Like even during the storm, people were saying, how come someone was very upset before the hurricane was coming here. We didn't know what was happening. Before the hurricane hit Bahamas, I go out and dance during the hurricane. I talk to my ancestors, I plant flowers. And they said, how disrespectful, FleurBrun, for you to say that you would go out and do that and dance. I said, why is it disrespectful? I choose that as my way of being in balance with the elements. I know in my mind I will only be where I'm supposed to be at the time I'm supposed to be there. So I'm already in hyper awareness. I'm on the top floor of that building, like I said to you. I'm seeing the panoramic view. That being said, me dancing in the rain, me talking and listening to the whispers of my ancestors, that's what I've always done. And as you see, gratefully, look where I've always been. So what does that say to you? So there isn't any fear. So I say this all to say, as I keep going on in the video and sharing with you, always stay out of fear. It's unnecessary. Okay? Your lessons that come to you, you've chosen for yourself specifically, and you will only be able to get as much as you can handle. Okay? And if it's time for you to exit this plane of existence, that's the choice you've made. It is. There's different exit points that we have, but you've chosen it. There aren't any victims here. Just know that there aren't any victims here. We choose this. That's why it's exciting. It's an exciting day. I've been waiting for 2012. I actually have. Not because of anything else, but because of the shift. We have paws on ground. We have Lyrians and our wonderful our galactic cosmonauts that are back. We have them here as a backup. We're seeing a shift of power going back into the healthy divine. This is a beautiful time on the planet. There isn't anything to fear. But you should acknowledge what's necessary for you to know to make decisions. You can't make decisions from a position of being in the dark. That's what the Kabbalists have been doing to you for the longest time, right? The Kabbalists have made sure that you don't know things, so it throws you off. You know, when people do things to you last minute, you ever have somebody plan something last minute and everything is chaotic because there is no, there's no preempt, there's no preparation. It's nice to know things before time so that when it comes up, people are like, you know what? It's all good in the hood. Like during the time when everybody's buying water during storms, FleurBrun has water in her house. I have a water filter in my house. I have a generator. You know what I mean? I have everything in case anything pops off. Waiting in case. Everybody else is shopping like a crazy person, hoarding water and all kinds of things, making it difficult for people who actually need things. And if you are always in awareness, I always have batteries in my flashlights. I have the flashlights that you clock up, so I'm not wasting anything. These are the things you should always have. So just like the Intellis told us to have our passports, that isn't anything that should shock you now. Now I've given you confirmation. See, this is what it's nice. When we get intel, and this is our intel, I don't take anything. When I have intel, I share it. I'm not a hoarder of intel. I think it's disrespectful and I think it's dishonoring as me as an earthling, not sharing with my fellow earthlings things that can be helpful. I'm not here on the planet by myself, and nor will I keep things away from you that can help you and your family. That isn't my personality. I will share it every single time. That's part of the reason why I come here on YouTube. I think it's very disrespectful, and I think it's very harmful for beings to hoard information that could help humanity. I think it's wrong. Okay, so when I share things from you, it's totally coming from what I know. It could change at any moment based on the fact that people there's different intel coming from different arenas. The military person told us, we didn't know why. Listen, I didn't know why they were saying get your passports in before September. I didn't know. I assumed it was coming from see, this is what I'm saying. Even my limited thought of where the intel was supposed to be, it was meant for the people in the Bahamas and other places probably now. We don't know what else is going to pop off because it's 2012 now. But it was meant for those in the Bahamas to get the passport so they could get to free. Who would have known that? And who would have known that I would have been on a platform where we have a group of people who are actually listening, who actually are engaged in taking it seriously, and they went and got their passports. All those people got off first. And that's the lesson for us to know that sometimes we get things that help us. Let's take it and value it. Thank you, Anna. I appreciate it. Thank you, Anna Maria. That's a beautiful name. That's a very angelic name, Anna Maria. When you say that, it's like a song. Yeah, it's beautiful. So, okay, so 2012, we have a volcano underneath the Caribbean. Now, this is for the Caribbean people. I always stop and sidebar. I apologize for that. Please put a like on the video if you're coming in. I think all the gentlemen yesterday that were upset at the video, they aren't, they're usually my, what do you call the guys? What do you call the people with the hammers? What are the people on the what is it called, the people on the hammers that I give hammers on here? Oh, Vivian's here. Hi, Vivian. Thank you, Vivian. I think all the gentlemen are really disturbed from yesterday, but let me not divert. Moderators, thank you. Monitors, thank you. I don't remember some of all these newer terms, you could tell I'm seasoned because these newer terms that all these things, I was even talking about my CD player, and one of the C-stars was like, CD player, you could just upload music. I like my CDs. Listen, you may not be able to download listen, if you have a Walkman right now, you will be so grateful post pole shift that you have a Walkman. Everybody laughs at me because I have my CD player and I still have my old Walkman from when I was in high school. You're gonna be surprised how many people are gonna be listening to like a virgin on their Walkman. Listen, I'm gonna still be listening to my music on my Walkman post 2012. Everyone's making fun of me. I remember my ex was like, come on, man. Get rid of the Walkman. Why? I want to listen to my old CDs, my old tape cassettes. Anyway, so in the Caribbean, I want you to listen to this. This is for you, but this is for everyone. I don't want to limit it because this could be relative to anyone. I want you to really hatch out a plan, because our Bahamas family, I'm so I send love every day. I send energy their way every day. I send peace every day to them because I know that they're having a very difficult time, and it isn't something that they anticipated in their earthly body. They didn't anticipate it, but it's going to make them so much more beautiful if they survive this and they supersede the adversity. They're going to be gems. The Caribbean people in the Bahamas will be gems after this situation. They're in difficulty now, but the gems that they are gaining, the wisdom, the strength, the everything that they require for what's coming ahead, they're going to have. Let me just, because they're almost like the first responders, because they're getting a lot of the adversity first. So for our Caribbean people, I say this: I want you all to have passports. After Bahamas, this I know. Each one of you, I don't care if you don't have the money, you save up your $10 every day until you're able to get the passport for each and every person. And Granny needs to get a passport. Listen to me, my Caribbean people, because a lot of times we forget Granny. There's a lot of grandmothers who lost their lives, and that broke my heart because I don't want to cry. That broke my heart. Our elders are important too. Oof. So make sure, because a lot of grannies lost their lives in Bahamas. You don't take in consideration that a lot of times, we do stuff. You got to do for yourself first, but the abuelas matter. And I want you to save up your money, because people are like, FleurBrun takes money. I know that. I know. But I want you to, just a thought like that. You know what I mean? That is so hard. That breaks my heart. Oof. I'm so sensitive sometimes. Like little things like that break my heart. It's not little, but it's hard to the thought. So I want you to, hold on, family. Oh. When I have these moments on YouTube, it's hard because it's a natural state. I know don't judge me. It's a Starbucks napkin. Yes, I have Starbucks napkins in my, I'm sorry. Because I think of my grandma. Whew. I think of my grandma calling me, and she's 102, and she calls to check on me because she knows. Oh, sometimes I'm so, this is a part of me that I love, but it's hard because I'm so sensitive. A lot of grandmothers lost their life, and I'm grateful that my grandmother could call me. And she calls me, my nickname to my grandmother is Dadelle. It's very French. Dadelle, I just called to see if you're okay. I'm so grateful. Because a lot of times we don't realize that the most vulnerable to the elements is the elders and the babies. And it's one of the biggest things in the animals. And it's one of my reasons. Forgive me, I'm sorry. It's one of the reasons why I make videos like yesterday. Even if I get such a strong reaction from males, because I do care. I care about the ones that nobody cares about. There's a lot of elderly people that are in hospice situations where they don't have their families to help them. The first people that are affected by tragedies are our elders and the babies and the animals. I want you to get passports for them. I want you to get passports. Oh, thank you, Vicky. Love our grandmothers. I want you to get passports for them because I want them to have options too. I don't want you to forget about them. It's very important. Anyway, the moment. Please put a like on the video. They'll be like, oh God, FleurBrun's breaking down again. She just cursed men out yesterday. She's cursing out men yesterday, but there's a bigger reason why I share this with you. I think a lot of times we share things from a perspective of selfishness and just, okay, I could do me, right? Because I'm the mother. I'm grateful, I'm still strong. I could take me and my babies and I could get somewhere. But what about the grandmothers? There's a woman here behind me. She walks every day. She's a grandmother, an Indian woman. Look at her. She takes walks around. She walks around our homes every day, and that's how she exercises. I want someone like her to have an option. I want the babies. The babies will usually we take care of our babies, but the elders, I want you to do that. Bahamas, there were a lot of dead elders. You know, a woman was saying on a video how her mother is in the water over there. Her granny's in the water over there. That shouldn't be. If me sharing this with you, listen, you can think I'm crazy all day, but I prefer that you think I'm crazy and take some of the things I share with you and you actually make it applicable to your life. Take care to take these shares I give with you, not in fear, not in, oh, thank you, Stephanie. I appreciate it. I honor your grandmother in honor of my grandmother in heaven. Oh, rest in power, Granny. We have to do these things. And I think a lot of times the males think that us empowering ourselves has to do with depreciating them. It doesn't. It's just empowering us so that we can make decisions like this. You, as the mother in your household, you are the matriarchy. If your grandmother isn't living anymore, you become her. And it's necessary for you to make those strong decisions that will keep your family in a healthy homeostasis through this shift. We are going to have a pole shift. I'm like that crazy man. Go watch the movie 2012. The crazy man who was on the radio, that's FleurBrun. I'm just not as out off the hook as him. I'm the guy. I remember years ago when we first saw the movie, me and my husband, my ex, he said, that's you. I'm that man who was telling you for years to prepare for the changes. The changes are beautiful, family. It's clearing off our planet. We're going to be an amazing, I saw the future. It is beautiful. Our elders will be respected and loved again and honored. Our children will be safe again. But in order to get to that placement, everything will fall. It is what the planet does. It is very necessary for you to take the steps for yourself and your family, to keep yourself in a positive, healthy disposition so that you can ride this out smoothly on the top of a mountain and know that you've done your due diligence to protect yourself, to make changes, and that you're actually matching the frequency of the planet. Because we don't necessarily want crazy people who hate women or abusers of children to be here. We want them gone too. So we have to make sure that those who are in alignment. Remember, there's a lot of preppers that are sinister bastards. All these Epsteins all these Epsteins have underground bunkers. If you look online, for many people who are not even in this intel, look online and look at all the bunkers. See, this is where many of you don't. I remember, how old am I? I got to think of my age. I started prepping. Remember from a little girl, I was always in sync because I'm seeded from the Maya. So I always had the intel that I was to prepare for that time. Aw, thank you, N Golden. How can I talk to you? Read my comment. The ET ship destroyed. Oh, what ET ship was destroyed? Email me, love. N Golden. Email me at delgaddess@gmail.com. delgaddess@gmail.com. It should be in the description. Please send that information to me. I appreciate it. What was I saying? Yes, just be aware and ready for anything that pops off. We're going to have a beautiful planet, but I was saying the underground bunkers. They've had underground bunkers for years. They have underground cities and trains. The Queen of England, the biggest insectilian queen, has a way to get to South Dakota, under the ground. They've had these things. So if you think the things that I'm sharing with you are insane, why don't you go and see why the wealthiest people in this world are all preparing for something that you think I'm crazy for? Why do you think that some of my friends in the upper echelon of social economical status have all bought homes years ago in the safer places of South America? Why do you think the Nazis set up there? So these are all the things that I've shared with you from a very Regular person on grounds, boots on grounds perspective. I'm not keeping it to my bougie friends. I'm not saving my intel for the ones who I deem are worthy. You are all worthy. If you're here and you rock with me as a regular mom from Mount Vernon, New York, who's an ET contactee, who's basically just a regular person, I'm a regular woman who cares about the status of the earth. I do. That I do personally. I care about the earth. I care about the babies, and I care about our state of being. If you rock with that, then you know I wouldn't share anything that's out of sync with balance. So that's what I'm saying. I would recommend that you live somewhere where you feel. You have to, remember, not everybody's going to be in the same location. In the future, let me give you an idea. I don't want to promote him, but he's a bastard. See, this is one. There's a gentleman who's a hip hop person, and you know I was pissed off when he's told our story. Someone else can put the name of the video in here. I won't promote it. I don't like him. I know he's from another time. He time traveled. I don't like him as a person, but he did tell our story because he knows the truth. That's why he's not adverse to the women. There's a video of a hip hop person. He told our story. And if you watch the video, yes, thank you, Narda put it in there. If you watch the video, he tells us what happens. That's why I know, family, I couldn't tell you, the women rule in the future. We are the bloodlines. There's going to be there's going to be different tiers, and they're all based with the certain extraterrestrial groups, galactic groups that set up those tiers. It's a fact. I know, I saw the future. That's why I tell you, when I shared yesterday, do you see how many males in our group were literally, there were so many males that were literally, from my message yesterday, even males that normally are cool with us, they were all literally triggered yesterday. The message yesterday bothered a lot of males, not all, but it bothered them. You know why? Because it's the truth. It's not the truth. See, if they didn't think it was the truth, it wouldn't trigger them. There was an awareness saying, oh my God, you know, I may be sitting complicit with males that are diabolical, and I'm going to get residuals from that. They won't be here, family. Any male that is out of sync with us, I'm telling you, I'm 1000%. You never hear me say that. Watch the video. I don't like to promote them, but I want you to see where we're going. It is a fact. We are head of household. We are now in home court advantage. There isn't any way back. And the only males that will sit well with us are males that are healthy, meaning they love their families. Now, this is what's crazy, because if you're a male who loves your mother, loves your children, loves your sister and your nieces, loves yourself, this message wouldn't bother you. If you're a male who actually honors other females or friends of their females, or actually don't sit in complacency with males abusing or being egregious with women, this message yesterday wouldn't bother you. For so many males to be triggered by that lets you know where we're at, family. It just lets you know. I'm unapologetic. Remember, I sleep with a male. You know, I love males. I mate with males. I do. Oh, thank you, Eliana. Thank you, Mama. I appreciate it. Enchanted. Thank you. Thank you. So, you know, I always say, because people always think that because I share a message on self-empowerment of our female sect, that I would have to only sleep with females. I'm a woman who loves healthy males. I love healthy males. I love a healthy father. I had a daddy who I loved, who was good to me, who spoiled me. You know, according to some of my mates, they'd be like, you're so spoiled. I'm not spoiled. I was loved by my father. So my expectations of men is healthy. I know what it is to have a healthy man in your household. I know what it is to have a healthy man be a healthy father. So it isn't being spoiled, it's having an expectation that's balanced. And it's healthy for myself and my family dynamics. Okay? So lesbianism isn't denoted, you know, I'm not saying our lesbians here are wrong, but I'm just saying they automatically think I'm a lesbian to have love for my sisters. I don't want to sleep with my sisters. That's not what I want to do. I'm just here to be healthy, balanced perspective to my sisters. That's it. Our men should, like I said, there weren't, now, our sun stars, many of our sun stars on the backlight, they weren't affected by the message. They were like, you know what, FleurBrun, we've been ready. They've been ready for it for a long time. Like I said, it's healthy for us as women to get healthy. We're very toxic, and our behavior, I say ours because I'm not oblivious to it. Our behavior is reprehensible to men because we're not healthy. We aren't healthy, and we are the reason why the world is in balance as well, because we've been traumatized, and in our traumatized state we project that into the environment, and it causes all these residual unhealthiness in our environments. That's all. So, a lot of them have been infected, and just to let you know, there's a cube in almost every city. Many people thought I was just talking about the cube in Saudi Arabia. There's a cube in almost every city on this planet. The sea stars didn't play. They set booby traps and frequency recalibrators on every inch of this planet, so that when this time came, for those males who were out of sync, who were harmful to us, they're all going to be affected by what they've done. Well, males are not healthy. Everybody's sick. Everybody's gotten sick on this planet. It's hard. It's like having a fruit that has a little bit of, decay on it. When you have a fruit in your fridge and it has a little bit of that, what is it, like a little bit of the, algae on it? Not algae. A little bit of the, rotting. Then it rots all the other fruit. It's very hard to have one rotten fruit and not rot the other fruit. That's all. So, like a thing. Big up to Els. Hey, El Summers. I got Carlos. See, Carlos and El Summers are in here with us. Carlos has known me for years. El Summer too. They already know me from just knowing me. So it's kind of, the men who know me know my heart. So they're not really. And Warrior was fine yesterday. Warrior was fine. I don't know what was the conversation in the room. Warrior was good. He hit me up in the DMs yesterday. And it was a couple other males who hit me up. Some, Yay and Frey. But anyway, so, okay, for those who want to, let's go back to 2012. If you're stepping in the room, please put a like on the video. I appreciate it. Putting a like on the video just helps to, again, I do notice that when I get likes on the video. Now, this is something I didn't know before. I didn't pay attention because when I go into lives, I don't always put a like. I forget sometimes. Just me. And I think everybody else does too, but it wasn't a big deal. But I think with what's going on with YouTube, they look at that as a marker of like, this person is sharing this. They don't want me sharing this information. So it looks like if I get likes that people are watching, so they won't get away with their insidiousness. So if they know that people like the content, it's harder for them to do more, try to delete my videos like they do sometimes. They'll just delete videos and I won't find them. Hey, India's in the house. Okay, so for those who are prepping for 2012, big up to those stepping in the room. Welcome to 2012, family. It's what we've all been waiting. Well, at least I've been waiting for it. I'm excited about it because we're closer to our shift. I've been ready for the shift. I'm preparing for the shift. The shift is important because once we go through the full-on pole shift, we'll have a new start. But getting there is going to be challenging, and we're going to have to put our biggest and greatest hats on at this point. Okay, so it is a very exciting time, but I want you to be prepared. I just want you to be prepared. Like, listen, if the water goes out tomorrow, how many people on here know how to filter their own water? How many people know how? This is what I did on Patreon. I did walk you through my bug out bags. So I did show you what's in my bug out bags. That was fun. I think Cypher, you guys saw it too, right? But how would you, let me see if anybody knows how to filter their water. Water's gone. No more water. How would you filter your water? Quick. Let's see who knows. Quick. I'll give you that. Quick. What do you have in your house right now to filter out your water? Okay. Sand is one. That's part of it. Yes. Okay. Tanae said sand. Okay. You got one part. Charcoal. Okay. We got charcoal. Very good. You got a Berkeley. Somebody's already got a Berkeley. So Berkeley, they have already a filtration system that they have on hand. Sand, rock, charcoal. Woo! K's been down. Okay. Baking soda raises the alkalinity. It won't do it. Sugar to a certain level, that changes the frequency. Okay. Kagon water machine. Someone's got a Kagon water machine. Very good. Charcoal pantyhose. Okay. So you guys have been a part. Okay. Coffee filters. I love it. Okay. So we got some preppers in here. I love it. Okay. Say yes. In order to filter out your water, There's a couple pars. Yes, you must always boil. There's tablets too. Some of you can get the tablets from Walmart. I don't like using that. I want to use natural systems. Pantyhose, many of you remember the pantyhose or the filter. You can make it should be a triple filter. You must boil the water at all points. Water must be boiled, okay? So you can boil it at the beginning or at the end, however you do it, because it kills any living bacterium, okay? You always got to burn it. Always got to heat it up, okay? But filtering it through pars, definitely through sand. Sand helps to filter out. Also, it neutralizes any sort of pathogens. Charcoal clears the water, totally clears it, okay? So you get a lot of the things out. So you put it in a sediment. So you can do a sediment filter. You can do a sediment filter with rocks on top, sand in the middle, and charcoal at the last. Whenever you drink charcoal water, anybody who drinks charcoal water knows the water tastes so crisp, right? Remember when I drink my iodine gets rid of radiation. Be careful with iodine. Some people are very sensitive to iodine. Iodine can also cause holes in your stomach, so you have to always make sure you put a lot of water in it. Iodine is good. If you're exposed to any sort of radiation, you always have iodine. Okay, iodine for the babies. Be very careful, mothers. This is something I have to warn you. You cannot give babies straight up iodine. It will puncture holes in their stomach, and they may go through septic. Okay, so you dilute it with a lot of water if you're going to consume iodine. Now, many of us who were ready back in the days had iodine patches and so on. You can also get those, but I don't suggest it. You can have iodine as a staple. If there's any radiation in the environment, you should automatically know, and make sure that if you're ever exposed to radiation, you're not washing yourself, because you put it all over your body. Radiation tends to stay in your hair. It flakes up. You don't want to wash anything because it spreads, okay? There's a way to do a dry radiation brush. You brush it off in order to get it off of you, okay? But borax helps too. So, okay, so there's a filtration system. Many of you know about the Carrigan filters. You should have hand filters yourself. I have filters in the house. If there's no running water, you should do the 3 sediment testing rule. So once you do the sediments, so pour the water through the sediments. You can do that twice or 3 times, however you want, and then you boil the water. The water's usually safe. Now, if you have food grade peroxide, that's also an additive too. So after I do the 3 sediment rule and let the water boil, I always add a little bit of food grade peroxide, and it kills anything else in there, and the water would be crisp. Okay, so I love that many of you know this. This is what I'm talking about, prepper community here. Just know that you should always be able to at least give yourself water. I did a water fast. For any of you who think, oh my God, FleurBrun, what are we going to do about food? FleurBrun didn't eat. Silver's very good for infections and things like silver's good for killing bacteria. So be careful. Silver's great for babies. So if you have babies, you should always have silver in your backpack. That's a staple. Okay, but for those who are going through a shift, and let's say everything goes down, including water, 30 days FleurBrun didn't eat. Many of you watched me go through my 30-day nano water fast. Was FleurBrun okay after 30 days of not eating? Did you see me after 30 days not eating? Okay, so you will be fine on water. People can more so live on water than food. You won't require food. Now, those who have a higher metabolism, like our smaller niestas and niestos, a lot of you have a higher metabolism. It's a little more difficult for you. So you can do things like having dry out your fruit and freeze dry, and seal dry it. Okay, having things like that seal dried, you can live on a date a day. Listen, a date a day. Big up to all our twin flames in the house. A date a day. So a date has a lot of nutrition. Also having some sea moss, soaking sea moss and making a drink with it. So that is very, 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 very pertinent. Okay, so you can live off water for 30 days. Food is not, and also whenever you have your bug out bags, again, I'm not going to go into the whole, this is about 2012, yes, but I'm giving you just a preamp to some of the things you should have on deck. Okay, so for all island people who are isolated on islands, including our Hawaiian islands, big up to our family in Hawaii, Kauai, aloha to Hawaii, Kauai. We have Oahu, which is Honolulu. We have the Big Island, which some people are still living on there, even though with the volcano eruption. And then we have our family on Maui. Okay, so you have the Hawaiian Islands in the middle of the Pacific. you are very vulnerable to the elements. So you should always know how to sustain yourself. And also you should have floatings. Like I have you should always have inflating boats. You know, people, we had a tent. Well, it's gone now. I used to have a tent that I left at my dad and mom's house. I don't think, I may still have it. Maybe I still have it. I don't remember throwing it out. I used to have, somewhere. That was one of the things I first bought years ago. It was a tent with a self-inflating float. It could carry about 4 to 5 people. So you should be able to have, you know, in case water comes, you want to have that as an option. Okay. You want to be able to sustain yourself without having food. The little people will want to eat. You should always have things like dried fruit for little people, because the sugar will keep them, it's like sugar is a drug, and it does keep them happy. So if you want to have snacks and goodies for your little people, I would suggest, if you have little ones, always have that. Dried veggies, like little things for the little babies are important. A nursing mother, as long as you're drinking, you will always have milk. Okay, you don't have to necessarily eat. Now, if you're very thin, your milk might have problems, but if you have a certain amount of loft, your fat storage will be burned away in order to feed the baby. So breastfeeding mother can also feed her family. I know a lot of people aren't adult enough to hear that. A breastfeeding mother can feed her husband, can feed her children, older children, if she has a baby, because her milk can sustain the family. So having a little bit of her milk also helps. Glow sticks are good to have. Okay. So these are the little things for prepping. So those in the islands, I always suggest you definitely have your passports. We saw in Bahamas how that was important. Always have a little cash on hand. When I say cash, you should have, per person, you should have about $200. So let's say you have 4 people in the family, okay? So obviously you have $200 for you, $200 for hubby. That's just cash on hand. Always have cash, because during impending accidents or craziness, usually what happens, like in Bahamas, people were forced to pay $75 plus have their passports to get out of the country. If you have that cash, $200 is usually relative, because they won't ever usually charge you more. Or sometimes you may have to pay somebody off at the border, or have that cash in order to pay for something, because all the electronics goes down. It's important for you to have cash. So I always tell people $200 per person, per child. A baby, it's not a big deal, but I'm talking about a little baby, but even a toddler. So if you have a toddler, $200 for them, cash aside. $200 for you, mommy, $200 for daddy, $200. Always have that cash on hand, just in case, and keep it always. There isn't any reason you should spend it. Don't go in there to give your children lunch money and just forget that you took another $20 out. That could be the difference between you living and leaving, or not making it out. Okay, necessary. Many of you know this. I think I've told you before. This, you usually see this around FleurBrun's house. If you guys visit me, does anyone know what this is? Let's see if anybody knows what this is. I'm going to squeeze it for you. Let's see if you know. Let's see if anybody can guess. Some of our preppers will know. What is this, family? Yes. What? Oh, I love, y'all are the bomb. I love you. This is what I'm talking. This is why we're together. This is why we're on the mothership together. Charcoal. You guys are so smart. I love it. Charcoal bags. Why do I have this in the house? It helps so I don't get mildew. Remember, I live in Florida and we were having a storm. This you keep in your car. You keep it in your house. You keep it underneath your pillow. Yes, I buy them. You could buy, I have a whole box of them right now. I put them around the house because we get moisture and humidity and mildew. This will help absorb that. So it's always good to have this around your rice is good also. Rice will collect mildew also, but this is good to have around. So I have this in my car, my truck. This helps to collect some of the moisture, and this is good for keeping in your bags, to keep moisture out of your bags, your bug out bags. So your bug out bags should have 1 or 2 of these. Okay, if you're not using them, put them in a baggie so you're not wasting it. Okay, Amazon has a box of them. They're not expensive. I forgot how much I paid for this, 20, but I forgot. So always have this. I have them underneath my daughter's pillows. I keep them around the house. They're always great to have. It's good to have in your bug out bag so you don't collect moisture. Okay, good for the bathrooms. Yep, that don't have ventilation. The basements. Yes, look at this is That's why I say, family, it's not me. Y'all are thebomb.com. This is what I'm saying. Y'all, you family are much more knowledgeable than you probably give yourself credit for. You even knew what it was before I even told you. I love it. I like my, I get them a little classy too. And you can hang these up. Like, it has a hanging place, so you can hang it up too. So you don't have to, you can make these. For all our resourceful mommies that don't want to spend the money, listen, you can also hang them up or make them pouches. You can make them and sell them. Okay? For all our mommies, stay-at-home mommies who want a little extra source of income, you can actually make these. Okay? Do that, mamas. Make it. You're home all the time with the babies anyway. I did so many things when I was home with the babies. I was so resourceful. With the babies, you guys have time. You're home listening to FleurBrun. You're chilling. Husband's probably at work. Do this. Make a little source of income. So if he pops it off and he gets out, if he starts throwing things in your face, this is what happens. Stay-at-home mommies, a lot of people don't know. People think that stay-at-home mommies have a cushy life. You're more vulnerable as a stay-at-home mom, because a lot of times what happens is that husbands start misbehaving because they think that they have you on lock. A lot of people don't have this discussion. So for stay-at-home mommies, you could hide your income, because my grandmother, my 102-year-old grandmother, always told me, you don't tell a man everything you have, because he will take that and take advantage of you. If you have little ones at home, you can hide your little stash of money. That's for you to know. So if he ever threatens, he gets a Becky or LaQuanda at his job, you have a way to leave. Okay? Never feel like you don't have an option. That's why I say, some of you I've been there, done that. When you stay at home, it's the most vulnerable point of reference. Okay? So make a little income. We won't tell him. Okay? Because we support you supporting yourself. We will support you and we'll pay for it. A lot of us will shop from you. So we have a platform of 520 people. If you get $10 from us, $10 from each one of us or half of us, you have an income. Okay? We'll shop from you. Okay, so don't worry about that. Don't ever worry about that. We support you. Okay, so these. What else? Okay, so 2020. Please put a like on the video. Got 522 people in here. Please put a like on the video. I appreciate it if you put a like. Thank you. Okay, so you have your water filter. You have that. You have some dried. Remember, you dried some of your pineapples. You ever have fresh pineapples and stuff and you totally are like, you don't want to waste it, but nobody wants to eat anymore? Freeze dry it. I have a dryer. Listen, my Matrix mom, years ago, when I had my second daughter, she bought me a food dehydrator. She bought me a fruit dehydrator, a food dehydrator. Big up to my mommy. She bought it for me because she knew I was doing stuff like that. I was canning in the house. I was doing stuff because I was home with the babies. I dehydrated all my extra fruit that nobody wanted anymore. So raspberries, strawberries, pineapples, mangoes. I dried them and then I put them in my seal machine that sealed it off from air, and I have it in my sacks. Those are good snacks. Now, mind you, one thing I have to say is, if you are having dehydrated fruit, what does it tell you? You have to consume more water. That's the only thing, because the water in your body is going to be utilized to rehydrate it. So there's a plus to it and a minus. The plus is you have some nutritional staple that you consume, but you have to make sure you're getting doubly hydrated, because in order to rehydrate it in your body, you have to make sure that you have enough water. Okay, so it's two par. You have dehydrated things, but you have to have enough water to rehydrate it. Okay, so make sure. Yes, charcoal is good for odors too. A lot of things like that. Always have baking soda. Baking soda is an it raises the pH of things. Okay, so for our island people, passports. Having extra cash for each person. So Granny should have $200. And if nobody will do it for Granny, you do it for Granny. The grandchildren are usually much more loving with grandmothers than sometimes the children. So for the grandchildren who have grannies, you save the money for Granny, because mommy may say, I don't have any money for Granny. Me only have money for myself and the family. You know what I mean? Granny, I don't have enough. So you make sure as the granddaughter or grandson that, oh, thank you, Anna, Ra. Thank you so much, love. I appreciate it. Thank you. 999. It's the end of a cycle. You're right on point with that. We just had the 999 portal on Sunday. It's beautiful. Oh, wait. We have a vision. Okay. El Rose says, Fleur, I had visions or dreams back in 2012, and we are now living it out. the earth wobble, tilt, the pole shift, the ETs coming to watch, the big switch. That's what I'm talking about. See? We have those who have already seen this. So make sure you take care of Granny, okay, everyone? So abuela is important. Abuelas matter. I'm gonna get a hat saying abuelas matter. Which you can listen. My sea stars who are stay-at-home mommies, make some abuelas matter hats, and we'll buy them from you. Make some cool hats, abuelas matter, and we'll buy the hats from you. Grannies matter, grannies rock. We'll buy the hats from you and we'll create an income for you. You don't, listen, this is about being self-sustaining. Mothers support other mothers. This is what we have to do. I know what it was like to be a stay-at-home mom. My husband was one who was a main resource of income. It was very, very vulnerable. It was made me very vulnerable, and I know what that is. So I know it's very important for you to be able to self-sustain yourself, because we don't even know if these men, a lot of times what's going to happen with a lot of egregious men. We don't really know. Okay. Yeah. I'd buy a hat saying abuelas matter. I'd buy a hat for my mom and then my grandma. Okay. That's another idea for some of our stay-at-home mommies here. Okay. So you can do that as well. I would love to buy the hat. I'll sell them at the conference. Listen, I'll sell them at the conference. You make the hats, abuelas matter, abuelas rock. You know what I mean? Make it cool. So we buy Granny. So, okay, so I'm not even made it past what I'm telling you to do in the Caribbean. So passports, money per person, 200 money per person. Have some charcoal, some sediment sand, and some rocks in your bag. Not too heavy. Make sure you put it, oh, what happened? Fleur, have you checked out the reset of time, the YT YouTube channel? The open scroll talks about, no, Aniela, beautiful name, Aniela. Can you put that, when we're done with the video, can you put it in, can you tag it for us, please? Like, can you put, what is it, a link for that, please, that channel, when we're done, or just go in the description, you know, like the comment, can you put it in there so we can check it out? Thank you. I want to check it out. Stay-at-home mom for 12 years, always have a plan to hide that cash. That's right. We got the stay-at-home mommies on point here. All right. So, okay. So we have food, you have sediment in your bag. You have a charcoal pack for this. You got snacks for the little people, right? You have money for each person per house. Abuela isn't forgotten. And remember, if you have abuela who can't walk, you have to have a plan, because a lot of times wheelchairs and things are very difficult. You have to have a plan to be able to do things in order to make sure everyone's good. Do you have something for your doggies? I always had, big up to Murphy and Sheena. Many of you saw me over the years with my doggies. They had a bug out. I had a bug out bag for my dogs with their shot records, with their paperwork showing that what dogs they were, with the names of me and my ex at the time, where someone could call in case my dogs got lost. Also, I had little tablets for my dogs for hydration in their bags. So if you have dogs or cats, you always have and I also had soft carry bags even for my bigger dogs in case I had to bring them on a plane or boat. So do know that you should make hatch out plans for your dogs. Yes, the life jacket for the dogs. I had it all in their baggies. I had bug out bags for my dogs. My dogs have passed since. Many of you know, many of you saw the videos with Sheena and Murphy Lee. I had my dogs 18 years. 18 years, almost to the day. So they were beautiful. I made sure I had a hatch out plan for them. If they weren't able to go somewhere, I made sure I had a plan to have self feeders and things for them and safety for them. Okay. So that's your family as well. If you have dogs and cats, it isn't right for you to take life if you can't protect it. So just like you have a hatch out plan for you, should have a hatch out plan for your dogs and cats. Okay. Or snakes. Some of you have snakes. Some of you have aquariums. You know, if you're going to take on life and be the protector of that life, you should definitely have a place to be able to take care of them. You know, it isn't right for you to just leave the house and leave your animals to fend for themselves. They're domesticated. So you've basically made them reliant on you. And because of that, you leave them vulnerable to the elements if you aren't around. So make sure you take your personal responsibility and make sure you do your due diligence to make sure they're okay. Okay? I think it's selfish sometimes for y'all to think of yourself and you don't think about the pet dog. He's going to die if you aren't there. He isn't able to survive because he hasn't been allowed to even train himself to do that. All right. Same with fish. People don't think about fish tanks. The motor goes off on fish tanks where the fish don't have oxygen in the tanks, and the fish die. No one thinks about that during a hurricane or something happens where electricity goes down. You have tanks which have oxygen. What happens to the fish when there's no oxygen? You need to have a manual oxygen machine. There are people, preppers do this. Preppers have this all the time. Preppers have actual manual bubble machines so that if the electricity goes out, there's still oxygen able to go into the fish tank during 5 to 6 days after electricity's out. Backup medication. Thank you, Susu. If you're on heart medication, if you have a nebulizer, if you have things like that, you have to always have an extra. So you can always say to the pharmacist, oh, I lost this, so you get an extra one. Always put your extra medications and things in bags. If you have abuelas who have medication and you take care of them, it's always good to get a 3-month supply of something. So if something pops off, you're not reliant on their monthly medication because you have a 3-month supply just in case. Okay. Dogs should have life jackets. Most dogs can swim, but they can't swim for long periods of time. For those who are living in Mississippi, Florida, and places where you have gators, you also have to be knowledgeable that a lot of times when we have floods, that's why they have a movie called Gators or whatever it's called. There's gators in the water and there's sharks in the water. You have to be alerted with that. A lot of places, if it's flooded, those same marine life will go on land. We have alligators, so you have to be aware that in water like that, there's alligators. So what we do is we walk around with picks. This I got from my warrior. Big up to Kirk. Sexy. You wonderful. I love you, Tauruses. Tauruses, like if you going rocking out for the pole shift, Tauruses rock. Leos and Tauruses. I'm in love with a Leo and I was in love with the Taurus. My Taurus carried him. He's an island man too. Carry around a machete. He could do anything, and a pick. What we have is picks. They're like little sharp things at the end of sticks, so you can feel around in waterways. So if you're walking, you can preempt an alligator. Alligators are pretty sedentary, but alligators you can basically pick into the water as you're walking, and you walk in a straight line, so the person in back and sides have the pick, so you can feel around. Okay, that helps you to be able to deal with any alligators. As soon as they're picked, you're not going to kill them, but as soon as they're picked, they'll back off. Okay, so it's a long stick you can make it. There's a long stick and there's a big sharp, either like a nail, or you can make it with a screwdriver. You can make it yourself, but what it is that you walk around and my twin flame is still here. I love my twin. Yeah, my twin is still around. He still tolerates me. Yeah, and my twin agrees with the message. You know what's crazy? A lot of males thought I was just. My twin agrees exactly with the message. He agreed with it but he's a healthy man. He loves his family, very protective. This is a Leo. My twin is a Leo. Very protective, very loving, very, very honorable. He has integrity. So when I shared the message yesterday, my twin flame felt like, yeah, that should be shared. Every man should be held accountable. He holds his homeboys accountable. Okay, the Taurus is the one. Many of you know Captain Kirk. Captain Kirk is who was my mate previously. He was a wonderful, wonderful. I always speak highly of him and unapologetic about it. He's a wonderful father figure, very protective, very Taurus. Tauruses are very protective and they're very, very strong. Tauruses are strong. Okay, so he's the one who gave me the idea of the pick for in case there's a flood, because then you could pick. Okay, so that's just I always speak well. Any man that I've ever loved, I will always love. I will always love him. Just, it's my personality. I don't have a lot of love, so anyone I've loved, I'll love them forever. You didn't have a good experience with your Taurus? I'm sorry. They can be. Now, Tauruses have other sides to them. I speak well of the Taurus, I know, but there are the other side of a Taurus is Tauruses love, if it's a male Taurus, they love women. Taurians love women. They're very they're very animalistic. So Tauruses love women. And if they're unhealthy, they'll like all women. Taurians love all women. They're protective, but the Tauruses are can be sexually, we were friends better. Okay, not as lovers. Okay, that could be okay. The Taurians have every sign has their dark and light side. You know, Sagittarius is known to be friendly, just, you know, the seeker of knowledge. They're stubborn too. Yes, absolutely stubborn. Very stubborn. You know, Sagittarius can be fun and everything, but bad Sagittarius is that they're not self-aware, can hold grudges. Sagittarius hold grudges, and Sagittarius just can't hold their tongue. So if you're expecting a Sagittarius to hold their tongue, you have another thing coming. I'm a little more seasoned, but if you met me 20 years ago, I just say what I feel. Sagittarius is flirt a lot. They may not, and Sagittarius, yeah, they flirt a lot. Sagittariuses are the multiverse of flirters. They think everybody is open game. These are the naughty. Every sign has a naughty, has their great parts and other parts. Yeah. You know, I'm a little more seasoned, so I learned, you know, I'm not cursing up a storm. I'm not. But if you meet an unsavory Sagittarius, it's just FleurBrun to the dark side of FleurBrun. That's all you'll meet. So it's beautiful. Okay, so and Sag are party, but we like parties. We either isolate or we go out in the public. We have extremes. Sagittarius will be like, you'll see me isolate myself sometimes, but when I'm enjoying myself, I'll be out enjoying and socializing for a long period of time, then come in and cheat. Yeah, Sagittarius men are known. They're notorious for cheating. The women tend to be a little different, but they can have the same unsavory behavior. Okay, it's the beauty and the beast. Anyway, let me get back on 20. Please put a like on the video if you're going in the room. Please put a like in the video before we start going into signs, because I'm sidebarring all over the place. Okay, so be prepared for that. Now, with seismic activity, if you hear jitters and so on, or you feel a heightened amount of heat, now for those in places where there's volcanoes, especially the islands, if it gets spikes of heat that are unnatural from the ground, that's why you need to put your feet on the soil. You can tell if something's going on seismically, and also you can feel if there's a volcano eruption about to happen if you put your feet on the ground. If you feel steam coming from inside the ground, that's not a good sign. If you are getting nauseous because you have the predisposition like myself with the sulfur, you need to find out if people around you are getting the same nausea. If they're all getting the same nausea, chances are you're about to have an eruption, because sulfur seeps out of the ground first before. It's your preamp before the eruption. That's the warning to the animals. Okay, if animals start migrating at a specific area, if you're not hearing, if you normally, especially with crickets and cicada, if you normally hear crickets, and many of us in the islands or in the Caribbean or in South America or in Florida, we hear crickets every night, especially certain times of year, like crickets or cicada. You hear that. If you stop hearing that for more than a night in a row, chances are something's gonna pop off. Okay, ant infiltrations. If you start seeing the big black ants, the big ones. If you start seeing big black ants out in the daytime where you normally don't see them, that's also a sign of seismic activity and something about to pop off. Okay, the animals are usually more balanced and more in tune than we are, because we've been muted, vaccinated, indoctrinated. We got Jesus saying that you need to eat a certain way. We got all kinds of things going on. So rather than that, I need you to pay attention to the animals. Okay, especially when we're in places where there's a lot of tropical animals. They're very in tuned. Okay, so big ants. When I'm talking about the big ants, I'm not talking about the little black ants. The big black ants, if they start coming out of the ground in the middle of the day and you have not seen them before, people will be like, well, maybe I didn't notice them. You'll notice them because they're not natural. They're not supposed to be. The big ones usually stay and they colonize in hidden places. If you start seeing those big black ants start coming all over the place, outside on trees, out of ordinary, not the carpenter ants because they stay on trees. I'm talking about you start seeing them on leaves and things like that, and moving sacks, especially if they're moving their eggs. Chances are there's seismic activity about to pop off. Okay, I want you to have another way to get off. For my Caribbean family, you should have a motorboat. You should really have a motorboat. Put a little money aside and have a motorboat that you keep in your own yard. Keep it in your yard. Keep it hidden. Have a little motorboat, so in case anything pops off, you can't move during a storm, but if anything else happens on that island that's not storm based, you can always get away on a little motorboat. All the little boats, or have family members have the, you know, the medium-sized boats. Yachts are for those who have a little more money, you know, and the yachts won't be around because usually wealthier people get a preempt before something happens. A lot of times the yachts are moved just like private planes are moved. On all the islands, all the planes, many of us know during, especially in my island, they will remove all the planes before a storm. So before a hurricane hits, all the prop planes will be removed from the island and relocated to mainland. So all the planes will leave. So there won't be a plane if they know a hurricane's coming. There won't be a plane on land. They don't keep their planes even in the sometimes they have the what do you call them, the places where they put them inside the big, it looks like a big barn. Even in those, they won't have them there. They put them off site. Same with yachts. Yachts are usually relocated. Okay? These are signs also. If you start seeing your wealthier demographics of people, if normally you walk around a pier and you always see yachts and then there isn't any announcement of a storm and all of a sudden all those yachts have relocated, that's also a sign, family, in the Caribbean or in places like where you're on the seaboard. That's a sign something's about to pop off. They know about a tsunami coming. Hangar. Thank you, the hangars. Thank you, Tasha. The hangars. They're not keeping the planes in hangars. They relocate them because hangars get blown away because they're just like a very thin tin, even unless it's military. Military hangars usually are more sturdy and reinforced. For those who are on the seaboard and on the pier, if you see yachts leaving, and normally you see yachts all the time, one or two, because usually people park their yachts there. Some people are not regular. They're, they come in and out, but usually yachts are parked in a certain place. If you don't see on the pier all the yachts gone, wealthier people get the preamp before the regular people do. So most of the people already have word that there's about to be a storm, a tsunami. If you see that boats are gone that normally are there, and you see that on a daily basis within 2 or 3 days, you know something's about to pop off and you need to prepare for either relocation or just to be able to know that, just knowing that something may happen. Okay? Burning in the nose. Okay? Burning in the nose is usually an indication of ammonia or some sort of chemical attack. So if you start getting burning in your nose, and it's not just you, it's family members, it's a sign that this may be a chemical attack. If many of you should also have gas masks for the babies as well. Okay, you can get gas masks on eBay for the little people. You should have a couple of the canteens, so it's not just one for oxygen. You should have those. Okay, make sure that you have that for the babies. They have a different size for the children. Okay, those are things you should have just in the house. These are things to have. For a Caribbean family, it's a little harder for you to get these things, and it's harder, it's more expensive for shipping. You can get those masks that are for what are they called, for men who do work, that workers do, the construction workers. You can get a couple of those and put them on. So put 2 or 3 on top, and then cover your eyes with goggles, okay, and your ears. You want to cover all open areas on your body. So you can put earmuffs on your ears, you put goggles on your eyes, and also you put a mask on your face, like the construction mask. Okay, so just these are little things to have you be mindful and careful. And again, if there's any radiation, never wash your hair after you've had some sort of radiation you've been exposed to. You have to get a powder or a residue and you have to shake it off. Okay, it's very important. Thank you. RR said the mask. Okay, it's always good to have the mask. For those of us who are seasoned preppers, you might know a prepper. They usually have radiation machines. For really seasoned preppers, radiation machines we all have. Okay, we know if there's radiation in the ear. If there's a spike of radiation that just kicks off, you know something's wrong. Okay, cover the eyes, the mouth and the nose and the ears. Okay, the other stuff you can worry about later. You might get shaved. I mean, if you have hazmat, you can get hazmat things from the dollar store. Just put one of those on. But I'm just saying, off the rip, protect your face and your face and your ears, because you get brain damage. So those are important things. I don't want to get too much into that because this isn't a fear-based video, but this is sharing with you. And like I said, me sharing, having passports helped a lot of people in Bahamas. Okay, you should have it as an option. Now, right before the pole shift kicks off, I'm not going to say it again. For many of you heard the video, re-listen to the video. FleurBrun is your sign. What happens to where I come from will tell you how much time you have. okay? There's a supervolcano underneath the Caribbean islands, and it's being triggered right now. All right, it's very important for you to have placements to where you can go. Now, for those in the Caribbean, you say, where do we go? The United States is too expensive. They may not let us in, but Mexico will let you in. Central America will let you in. Costa Rica will let you in. You have to be much more well-rounded in your thought patterns. Everybody wants to come to the United States. That's not the end-all be-all, Caribbean people. You can go into Central and South America easier. You will have less resistance. And you just have to know to protect yourself and be more resourceful when you're there, because it's a different, environment, but it's very similar to the Caribbean. So don't worry about if you can't go to the States. Yes, the States can be safe in certain scenarios, but if that isn't an option for you, it's better for you to go to the South as opposed to going to the North. Okay, so for my Caribbean family in Jamaica, Dominican Republic, Haiti, St. Vincent, St. Thomas, St. Croix. See, St. Thomas, St. Croix, and St. Vincent, Virgin Islands, and also Puerto Rico, it's probably closer for you to try to come into the States because you're closer and you're part of the Virgin Islands. We're not talking about you, because you can get into the States quicker. You don't need a passport. You can go into the States. So we're not talking about you. America will take care of generally their own islands. If you notice, there isn't any begging. Puerto Rico did have to beg because, of course, the Puerto Ricans want their independence, and the states, I think the president didn't even know Puerto Rico was part of the United States, which is crazy. It's crazy. But it was a little harder for Puerto Ricans to get in because they had a lot of ish going on, because the United States was like, oh, you want your independence? Well, let's see how you do here. It took so much more to get help to go to Puerto Rico because Puerto Ricans were trying to get their independence, which I think is abusive because it's still part of the United States. I don't care. If the people want to be independent, that's fine. But during a tragedy, put that aside and help the people. It's crazy. Yeah, throwing paper towel. He said he was like, they need to have their own country help them. But Puerto Rico's part. I can't at this point. Wish Jamaica could go to the States without visas. They were going to make it very difficult. Okay? So for our Jamaican family, for our brethren and sistren in the Caribbean who are in the islands that require visas and things to get in the States, unless you have a pre-made visa. Now, you may be able to come to the States if you already have a visa that allows you to come here, which not many do. But if not, my suggestion, there are safe zones within Mexico and definitely in Central America. Costa Rica is phenomenal. Guatemala is another safe spot. Panama will take you. Jamaica and Panama have a wonderful liaison. If you're Jamaican and you're and also Haitian and also DR, because there's certain islands that have stigmas, Panama would very much take you. Barbados, the States might take you if you have your passport. Barbados, because you have a friendly liaison governmentally. Barbados is still very friendly with the States, okay? I just know that. So just have two par. So for our family in the Caribbean, Central America would be my bet for you. Panama, I always say number one. Guyana's still good, yeah, if they get, but that's a long flight and it's expensive. I'm trying to get everyone, the closer you are to the South America, yes. Like for those who are in Belize, in Trinidad and Tobago, where else? Who else is in South America? Obviously my island, Martinique, St. Lucia. Who else? Guadeloupe. Guadeloupe is there. Dominica is there, is another French island. You guys, and France is also, France might get you guys out too. So for those who are the French islands who are still colonized and still have their national, like Martinique is still part of France. France will get their people out because there's a lot of French nationals on Martinique. So Martinique, France might get you out quicker. Okay, Dominica, I would go to Central America. Dominica is a very small island, but they're very friendly along with the other areas. Guadeloupe, I think are you still under French rule? If you are, France might get you out. Guyana is beautiful. So if you can get to Guyana, go to Guyana. Guyana, French Guyana, go to Guyana. Okay, if you can get there, it's expensive. See, this is what I'm saying. I'm thinking cost of people who have families. I want abuela and the children to be able to go, and I want animals to be able to go. So I have to think of places where people can afford to fly in case of emergencies. If you're in an emergency situation, you would have enough, Ecuador is good, but they're closing a lot of their borders because too many expats there. Ecuador might, but Ecuador is so funny right now because there's a lot of expats. I don't know how, they might let people in. Peru might be okay. Costa Rica definitely takes animals. Panama does too. So this video is only to share for those who want places to go in case. You may be fine where you are. I always say stake out where you are more so, but if there's any seismic activity, especially with volcanoes, I prefer you safe than sorry. Because with my island, the number one thing that happened and this was in the 30s, is there wasn't anywhere for them to go. They died. Many of my family members died in the volcano eruption. Obviously, I'm here, so quite a few of the family members who had the sensitivity to sulfur, we survived. Okay, passports, filtration for water in your bag, your bug out bag, fast mask for people, and also being very spiritually aware. Now people are like, okay, because one thing Dr. Delba Blair said, why focus on the outer things if you're not focused on the inner things? Part of you also being safety is being heightened in self-awareness. We discussed this yesterday. If you're heightened in self-awareness, you will always be at higher planes of existence where you can see past the rift. You have a panoramic view. So the more awake and aware you are, the more sensitive. A lot of our women know. I know when people are around. I know when someone's coming to visit me because I feel them before they do it. I feel when people are thinking about me. I actually know when weather's about to come towards me. That heightened sense of awareness will save my life and my family's life. The more aware you are and the more awake you are and the more self-aware and a heightened awareness, you're always in safety because you always have if you listen. Now, that's if you listen, but if you're heightened in awareness, it's because you listen to your own. Many of us have it. So your instinctive nature should also propel you in places where it's safe. Let me state this again for anyone coming in. Please put a like on the video if you're stepping in the room. Let me state this again. If you are staying on this planet in Avatar, you will either witness the pole shift or experience it. The pole shift will happen. It isn't something that I'm guessing. I'm not making it up. The planet does this. This is how she clears herself. It will happen, family. I know, like I said, my ex called me the man on the movie 2012. He was like, you're the lesser extreme version of that man. I am the man. I am your sound horn. And the very nature of my genetics tells you when you have the warning when it kicks off. When Mount Pelée from my island kicks off, you know the pole shift is happening within the next few hours. The full on. We're going through the pole shift now. The magnetic field, the magnetic north and south have already shifted. If you think I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, you can vet that out. All these things can be vetted out that I'm stating right now. You can vet out that the magnetic north and south have shifted miles apart. You will see environmental changes. Places that used to be cooler now warm. The entire planet is going to be warm post pole shift because the entire planet used to be warm. That's why we had a whole bunch of reptiles on this planet, because it used to be the whole planet was tropical. Okay? The cold aspect of the planet is because it was bioengineered. It was geoengineered by extraterrestrials. So the coolness isn't natural to the planet. The planet is a tropical planet. Every part of the earth, of this earth, was tropical. That's why the majority of beings that were originally here were all dark and brown. It was a tropical planet. Everything else was geoengineered on this planet. Okay, you know how we have lizards in our house? If some of you have aquariums, what do? You give your fish environment that is very healthy for them. Like you give them fake trees, right? Fake seaweed in your tank, right? You bring fake rocks and coral and you place it in there. So the fish think that they're swimming in their natural habitat, but it is a geoengineered habitat that you've created. So take that smaller version and then place it on yourself. We're living in a geoengineered stratosphere that has been geoengineered, but the planet clears herself because it is natural. So she does it as a way to clear and reset, go back to the way she was. It's a fact. Oh, it snowed in Saudi Arabia last year. I'm just saying, all the poles are shifting. if you know that the pole shift is going to occur, why not just be prepared? You're going to be exactly where you're supposed to be at the time you be it, but you listening to me on this podcast, on this transmission, lets me know that you are going to be in a position where you should be. I already know that because you wouldn't resonate with me. Some people don't like me. They don't. They don't like my message. They don't like me. They're adverse to me. There's a reason for that. That's why I don't beg for people to like me. It's unnecessary. When you have somebody that you resonate with, you just do. Not everything I say resonates with you. I'm not saying that. That is not even normal. I have girlfriends who sometimes some things they do is cool, sometimes it isn't, but I don't not love them. I still care for them. We just don't rock with everything exactly, but I love the way that they show up. You know, that's just normal. You know, not everything I say. Some things I said yesterday didn't resonate with people. Maybe some things I say resonate with you now. 1111. Big up to the 1111 frequency. What time? 1111. Big up to the 1111 frequency. What time? It's 1111 already. Big up to the 1111, the awakening. Okay? So that now I'm gonna be in sanctuary by the time the pole shift happens, and that's just, and so you will always be able to access me via, many of you know my handle on the CB sect is compost check. On the CB sect is compost check. I've had that handle for years. So you will know if you put out any transmission via the CB transmission over the radio waves. I'm compost check. So many already know us amongst that sect. When you have your CB radio or you're communicating, all of us will be able to communicate via those oh, is it looping? Uh-oh. Saying too much. Am I back? Let me know if I'm back. Put a 13 if you can see me. Uh-oh. Too much. Put a 13 if you can see me and hear me. Okay, I'm back. Okay. Okay. Okay, I'm back. Good. Always let me know if I'm back on. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. A ham radio. Yes. I'm compost check on ham radio. That's right. Carlos knows the name. I don't even have the name for some of the things I do. Okay. So that being said, you know, like I said, there isn't anything to fear. The one thing you will appreciate about the kickoff of the pole shift is a lot of the things that you are hell-bent on being a party to right now won't be. So a lot of the things that you are, you know, forced to work a 9 to 5, you know, be stuck in the matrix kind of paradigm, that won't be anymore. So this is what I'm saying when people say, oh, there isn't anything fear with the pole shift, because you will totally be out of the mix of what's required of you as far as what's happening. Can't stop, won't stop. Not matching? Okay. Lips aren't matching? Okay, if you can hear me, put a 13. I don't know if you can hear me or not. Okay. Wow. This is interesting. Video and audio not. Okay. Everyone's okay. Everyone's back on? All right. What does 2012 bring? 2012 also brings ET contact in an overt way. A lot of the galactics that are here after the shift, they won't be making a mass show of themselves. Anybody who's in contact with ETs or has contact with the level of contact with specific ETs, they all have personal contact. Peace, everyone came back in. Yeah, so they already have contact. But what 2012 brings is a new age, and after post-pole shift, ETs won't be hiding themselves. And I say ETs, it could be an interdimensional, extraterrestrial, or it could be an inner earth being. There won't be that there won't be that level of cloaking anymore. So they will definitely be open and out at that point. Okay, the majority of the populace will be healthier, not all. Now remember, we have underground facilities where a lot of the dark ops are going to, that's where you get a lot of these grays, all these governmental grays, and all these beings that went back to the Nazis. There's the helicopters. That helicopter is mad close. Okay. That was mad close. And he just circled. The Greys that came back and helped the Nazis, they're from the future. They're living underneath the ground, and they lost all their gene dexterity, like their DNA dexterity. That's why they're coming back, because they need DNA. That's why they're doing all this harvesting of humans. That's why they made agreements with the government to be able to take people, knowing the government is given agreement that they could take people and harvest their organs. That's why you're seeing a lot of missing brown women and men and children, because they're taking, especially the wombs now, because they're not able to have children. So they're taking and stealing the wombs to be able to try to have children via womb. So it's very important for you to watch your children at this point. Watch your children. And I'm talking to everyone, but I'm talking to everyone, but I'm especially talking to melanite people, because melanated organs are way much higher on the black market. There's contracts being with this is my opinion, with people who are civil servants who are having hits to do on children, young men, to get $50,000 for a spleen or for a lung or for a womb. They're getting paid a lot of money. So this is where I say, know where your sun stars are and your sea stars at all times. Keep them close to you, because we're going in a full-on pole shift. The Greys have come back to collect specimens to try to help geoengineer their people back, try to get them back. They lost their gene pool because they were all living under the ground. There's no sunlight, and they weren't able to come to the surface because of the radiation, and they didn't have the proper DNA to live on the surface. So they come from the future as Greys. That's how people look, because they're exposed to all the radiation, and they're trying to fix themselves. That's why they visited the Nazis. And that's why they gave all that intel to the Nazis. They technologically get advanced underground, but they lose their DNA. They lose their genetic dexterity. Okay? So just know that. Watch your babies. If you're giving birth to sons and daughters, you watch them in the hospital. You make sure your husband and your wife or your grandmother or anybody walks with that baby. Disallow for them tagging your baby. Yes, melanin costs $354 per gram. If you think we're lying, you can look that up. Okay, so you have to love yourself and protect. Nisi says, yes, dragon's blood incense. You should do now, as above, so below. Remember, we talk about the physical pole shift, and the protection we do on a physical basis, but spiritually, you should be on point. You should know how to protect your family spiritually, because you can do a lot. Burning protective candles, wearing amulets, making sure the babies have a level of protection on them at all times, making sure that you do things to perpetually encase them in beautiful golden protective bubble, so that they're protected when they go, they're going to school, if they're protected when they go anywhere. Okay, and know they have a hash out plan in case anything pops off. They shouldn't go on the FEMA buses. If you're close enough to pick up your babies from school, if they're still in school, then you should say, listen, loves, if a bus comes, if there's an emergency, mommy and daddy will pick you up. Don't go on any buses with anyone, regardless of anything, unless it's some on site. So you have a hash out plan with your babies. Tell them, listen, I tell my little ones, there isn't any bus you should get on. Mommy's, I'm running distance to their place where they are, to their instructions. I will be there. I will be there in time, and I have safety for them much more than anything that any being outside of me can give them. Have a hatch out plan. Have the walkie-talkies in their backpacks. I talked about that before. There's like a beetle. Did you see that beetle hit my hand? Have a, I don't know where he went. Okay. Have a walkie-talkie. You know, have the walkie-talkies, 10-mile radius walkie-talkies. Okay. Make sure you have walkie-talkies. Hey, baby, turn your walkie-talkie. If an emergency happens, they put you somewhere, turn your walkie-talkie on. And mommy will walk with you and talk with you the entire time while I'm coming to get you. Okay? This disallows for others taking control over your offspring. Okay? You brought them into this world. It is you who will protect them. Okay? I think birthing at home is beautiful. I think it's more natural. I think as long as you have the proper doulas and they make it so much easier at home anyway. They bring all the equipment. The next child that I have, I'll be birthing at home. And I don't down anyone who goes to the hospital, because I know mothers get very worried and they prefer to have everything on site. But if you're healthy and you feel confident, you can have a doula and a midwife at home. And also they bring the equipment, and also, you know, they'll walk you through it, and they have an emergency plan too to get you out quickly. So just know that if you're ready for that, birthing at home is less stressful for the mother. You don't have so many people walking around you, making you feel anxiety ridden. It's a great system if you can do it, and it's less expensive. People always think having a doula and a midwife, they charge you $20,000 more money in a hospital. Now, chances are, if you have medical, it's not coming out of your pocket. But at the end of the day, I think paying $1,000 to have, I think it's roughly like $1,500 or $1,000 or sometimes less, or $600 depending on your state. Spending $1,000 or $600, I forgot what it is. Some of you doulas know. To have a state doula and a midwife with everything that they have in your house with you, with your husband, your grandmother, and everything in the house, I think it's amazing. And being trained as a doula, Susu said she's going to be trained as a doula. Okay, it's much more relaxing, and you give birth to a healthier baby, not all that stress. Okay, so if you can, okay, if you have insurance, you're fine at a hospital. Yeah, you know, if you have insurance, it's not about if that. Most people have the insurance, but at the same point, you have to do what's righteous for you, whatever you feel. Okay, some people feel more confident when they're in the hospital. If you feel okay having them in the at home with the proper women around, make sure you pick out your doula and your midwife. You can pick them out. Make sure they have a nice belt underneath their backing, underneath their underneath their belt. You know, they have a lot of people they've given birth to, they've seen every scenario. Okay, they're more vetted. Okay, remember, before there were hospitals, we were the caretakers family. We've become so dependent on everything by outside of ourselves. Women have been giving birth for centuries without a hospital. Okay, healthy babies without a hospital. Yes, there are things that can happen. Absolutely. That's why I say you have to go with your first mind. You have to go with your first mind. So if you feel like you can give birth at home, then you should find ways to do so. If you feel anxiety ridden, then give birth in the hospital. That's why I say it's totally a personal decision of a mother. It could be, but just remember, if they're in the hospital, you make sure that you have someone watch them at all times. Okay? C-sections are sometimes necessary to get the baby out. Sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes they do it without. Sometimes they are. So yeah, educate yourself, Stefani said. Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. I can never give you that advice because it's a personal decision. I would like to give birth to my next child at home. That's my goal. If in fact the baby needs to be in the hospital for emergency reasons, I'm all for that as well. I want myself to be healthy and the baby to be healthy. So whatever's best for me and child, I will allow. Okay? I'm not saying I'm pregnant now. I'm saying if I decide to have another child. Let me state that. FleurBrun is not saying she's pregnant. I didn't say that. I'm just saying if I decide to have another child, I would like to do that. You squatted in a tub and boom, the baby was out. Let's say, yeah. I mean, we're supposed to squat. We're not supposed to lie in a bed. You know, one thing I noticed when I was in the hospital, they make you lie in the bed and your back hurts and everything. You're just supposed, we're supposed to squat down. That's how we're set up. And the gravity helps push the baby out and the pressure of squatting. You know what I mean? That's beautiful. C-sections are big money. Okay, and during pole shift, a lot of people were concerned about birthing. This is why when you do your hash out plan for those who are pregnant during pole shift, you know the pole shift is coming. So if you plan to get pregnant anytime soon, oh, my toes hurt. If you plan to be pregnant anytime soon, I'm talking about within the next couple years. Some of you are not of age to get pregnant. Maybe you're planning to get married and you plan to give birth within the next 2 to 3 years. You should have a hatch out plan. Okay, so if you're planning to give birth within the next 2 years, you should have friends and family on site that you know could help you give birth naturally. Okay, in case anything pops off. Okay, I've seen women give birth in the backseat of a cab quicker than they would have in a hospital. Right, so just have a hatch out plan and just know how to take the cord off the baby's neck and quickly. If necessary, know how to do, mouth-to-mouth resuscitation if necessary. These are things you just have to be vetted in. You can always get your, what is it called? Your, there's a certification you can get for that. And it's like $30. I would say do it just to learn how to be able to resuscitate a child, resuscitate a person, be able to do basic things. You know, it's helpful. Okay, so I'm not going to keep you long, family. So the ham radio, the CB radio, like I said, you don't need a lot of things to be a prepper, and for 2012, it is a shift. We are going through a pole shift. It's occurring right now. It is what it is. There isn't anything you can do about that, but what you can do is just be more resourceful. Make sure that you have a hatch out plan. Make sure you're awake, you're totally spiritually ready for this, you know, basically a CPR. Thank you, Donna. Roland, CPR license. Make sure that you are, you know, just ready spiritually. Are you self-aware? Do you know yourself? Do you know the best and bad of yourself? Do you know your family members? Do you know how they react in you know, darkness? Do you know how they react in stress? You know, these are things that you being aware will be helpful for you. 2012 will bring a lot of beauty, but it will bring a lot of adversity in the same breath. And that being said, you can make everything something more comfortable if you're aware. And what our family are going through in the Bahamas should show you how you should be able to see what the extremes of something occurring and how you are able to make it easier if something like that could occur where you are. Okay, you know, if you had a dream the night before the hurricane, we haven't even talked to anyone in the Bahamas yet, and I may do it live. Let's say you had a dream in the Bahamas. You were living in the Bahamas and you had a dream like a week before that there was going to be a hurricane that decimated the whole island. Now, remember, the hurricane didn't say it was going to go to Bahamas. We didn't know where it was going. Remember, I told you it was ET engineered. So nobody knew where the hurricane's first time ever. They couldn't tell you where it was going. There was no projection. If you had a week or a couple days before the hurricane and you had a dream that everybody was going to die in this hurricane in a certain area, you would have naturally, as someone who's hyper awareness, said, you know what? I'm going to take me and my family on vacation to somewhere else. Just to Florida, just because I feel funny. I had a dream and this happened and I'm going to make sure I just to be safe. I could be wrong. What about those people who did leave because they had this awareness? Do you see what I mean? It's necessary for you to follow your first mind. Dr. Bear taught me that first. You personally, wherever you go through, is going to be personal, and the person next to you may have a totally different experience. But follow your first mind. Don't be paranoid. I'm not saying for you to be paranoid and hypersensitive. I'm saying for you to be heightened in self-awareness where you preempt things based on your higher field of consciousness. So 2012 will sit with you well when you have that. 2012 will be an amazing observation based on your perspective and where you sit in conscious field. It's a beautiful time. The Mayans spoke about it. Our family's here. Make choices and great decisions. And for all those who are in position to resolve some karma, learn it quickly. Whatever adversity comes to you, learn it quickly. Say, you know what is this lesson supposed to teach me? Okay, wow. Okay, I'm one of those people who has this issue. I didn't realize it. Okay, this is what's this happening. I learned this. I know that in the past, maybe I'm not someone who does things quick enough. Maybe I'm a little stoic. Maybe I'm a little slow to the draw. That's what this adversity is teaching me, to follow my first mind. Maybe if you knew that you heard something with something in your house and you ignored it and you didn't follow your first mind and address it, then the bigger problem wouldn't have happened. So that's a lesson to you to say, oh, anytime I feel a certain way, I'm going to address it immediately rather than waiting on it. Do you know what I mean? Rather than sitting on something and allowing it to fester because I didn't listen, or I'm just being too lazy or complicit in the situation. Okay? Oh, wait. Miss Milky Way. I love your name. That's a saucy name. You must get a lot of solicitations, Miss Milky Way. I like the name. Even the name itself is alluring. If you're pregnant, you must get the emergency childbirth manual. You can download a PDF for free. Listen to this. Miss Milky Way just gave y'all a gift. Listen to this. I'm gonna download it for everyone right now. Miss Milky Way said, if you're pregnant, get the emergency childbirth manual. You can now download it for free on PDF. And print it out, family. Don't leave it on your computers. Print it out. Thank you, Miss Milky Way. This is what I'm talking about. We got some amazing people on here. Do you hear that? Sunshine says, FleurBrun, I had an ancestral reading and found out I'm connected to the Mayas, to the tribes of the sun. Welcome, Sea Star. Remember years ago when I used to make the videos with the sun in my living room? People call me the devil because I like the sun, and I have a beautiful, beautiful sculpture of the sun in my house. Welcome. The sun sustains us. It's a beautiful deity. Went to Twins. He's having a very bad day. He was drunk and kicked you out. What? You went to your twin? He's having a very bad day and he was drunk and kicked you out. He needs to work on self. The twin flame phenomenon is just that. The twin flames have to get it together. Anybody who isn't in alignment with you, and Jennifer, you're very much in alignment. You're just more balanced. If that male is drinking and gets drunk, if anyone's getting drunk to that degree, that tells you how much they aren't in love. They're not healthy in love with themselves. You won't be allowed to be with a male or female that is out of alignment. You won't be. Listen to me, family. Twin flame or not, soulmate, whatever, mate, sexual partner. If that anybody who's on here pretty much is healthy to a healthy degree, to a certain degree. If someone is drinking, remember, alcoholism is one of those, and drug addiction. If you're drinking still daily and you're chiefing daily, that is an addiction that will be resolved through karma. If he is still in that, drinking to the point where he's getting drunk, he isn't matching you. He has to get it together. And you need to tell him he isn't worthy of being a party to you until he gets it together. Tell him, listen, I'm a goddess. I'm meant to be with a God. And if you aren't in God frequency, in a healthy frequency, there isn't any way you're going to touch my healing space, nor me, or be in my frequency to taint my frequency, Jennifer. That's what you tell him. Your frequency is clean. His isn't. He doesn't need to be with you. He's drunk. Let him be. Let him deal with the demons that he hasn't dealt with. And I bet you, because Saturn is coming into the house, he's going to be humbled. All these people who are out of balance right now are going to be humbled by Saturn. It's already happening. You can watch it online. Look at all. Did you see Hassan Campbell's video? I'm going to talk about this at the end. Ooh, my tummy hurts. Did you see Hassan's candle? I know some of y'all don't watch him. I don't suggest you go to do it because his devil's all over. I taped it, so he can't say it didn't happen. He sat there drunk and high with another man and abused and beat him up. Beat up some other, he was throwing him on the floor. He was hostile. Those are demons. Hassan Campbell is plagued by demons. You saw it? It's sick. I saved it because people lie. I'm seeing all the things online. I just take note. I archive them. I just archive them so I can use them as reference points. He was beating the person up, saying, "Oh, you gay, you homosexual." First of all, why why are you yelling at him, calling him a homosexual? It's cruel. What's wrong with him? So you don't like homosexuals? So why are you hanging with a man who's gay if you don't like that? And why are you saying not to touch you? This was a crazy video of a reveal, family. This lets you know the infestation and infiltration of the online communities. Did you? I thought I was being punked. He was on a live, someone shared it, and he was live calling this man all kinds of dirty names. Yeah, that's the one who disrespected the woman in the fast, one of our Latino sisters, calling her all kinds of names at Burger King, saying she's serving white people over him. He's a sick man. He's got leagues of demons on him. He was beating up this guy, saying it's his friend, knocking him on the floor on a live, family. This is the sickness. I want you to witness these things because that's karma. He recorded it. See, he's even giving himself karma. He's even giving himself. Oh, thank you, Carlos. Carlos put the link. Everyone on the link. Carlos put the link of the childbirth manual. Thank you, Carlos. Carlos put the link for any of those who are pregnant nistas. The emergency childbirth plan is, Carlos just got the link. This is our Sun Star. Yes, so I'm just saying, be careful, because the online community, you're already starting to see Santa rig his head. You know, there's people online that are they were very clever at hiding themselves, but everything is showing up, okay? So there were a couple people online talking about their things were being shut down, and I took pictures. They were apparently paying for subscribers, and their pages were shut down because they were paying for subscribers. So I took pictures because I know why their pages are being shut down. They're blaming other people for their pages being shut down, but they were getting their pages shut down because they illegally bought subscribers. That's illegal. I didn't know you could until a couple weeks ago. Remember, somebody told me. So I took pictures of their subscribers going from. There's a white van behind me. Hold on. It might be a package. Okay, hold on. Oh, it's just a delivery. Oh, it's okay. Whew. I was about to listen. He waves to let me know because I was going. FleurBrun's no joke. Hold on, I might have a delivery. I have stuff coming for the conference. Big up to all who are coming to the conference. Oh, it's my delivery for the conference. Thank you.
My pleasure. Have a wonderful Baby Friday.
See you too. Baby, yes. Thank you. Yes, I got my package. I got my package already. It sounds broken. So this is just, yeah, I'm getting deliveries from my conference. Big up to all who are joining me for my conference. Oh, anyway, so yeah, they were buying subscribers. I'm blowing everybody's spot. They were buying subscribers. I didn't know you could, but someone said, watch what happens. So I looked at someone's page one day and I saw the subscribers go from like 300,000 and then it went down to like 6,000. Then it went to like 35,000 and went down to like 10,000. I was like, what the heck is that? It was shape shifting. So what I did, family, is I took pictures of their numbers, different numbers, to prove that something was wrong. Then another one had the same thing going on. So one of them had their whole channel deleted and they're blaming other people for their channel being deleted. But meanwhile, it's because they bought subscribers and it's illegal. I talked to a YT specialist a while ago and they said if you buy subscribers, your whole channel will be deleted. I've got proof. You know, they need to stay at bay. You know, a lot of these, yeah, it's very sick. So be careful because people, I don't know. First of all, I didn't know you. Number one, I don't know where they buy them. I didn't know where they bought them from. I don't know where they buy them from. I heard it. So remember I asked you guys and you guys said yes. And then one of the other C-stars said they were, told me who was doing it and I didn't know. So I went and I took pictures because I'm a Sagittarius. We prove everything. That's what I'm saying. You know when I tell you things because I'm really big at proof. I like to get proof of everything. So what I did is I took pictures of the person's YouTube numbers going on and off into different numbers. So, and then the person's whole channel was deleted. So I knew it was because they were paying for subscribers because it's illegal to do so on YouTube. Okay. Interesting. And then Hassan Campbell was beating up a gay man, even though he was hanging out with him and trying to get a hotel room with him. I thought that was so terrible. Why are you hating on a gay man? And why are you beating him up in the street and throwing him on the ground? This was all caught on video. So family, why am I sharing this with you? Because I'm sharing this to show you that everything is being exposed. He exposed himself. He went live on YouTube, basically showing you that he was abusing a man that he was hanging out with and calling him gay. But that was his friend. Like, why are you calling him gay and saying him nasty and calling all kinds of gay names? It's abusive. And this poor man was drunk. They were high and drunk. He was hostile. I've never seen any. This is Saturn. Saturn will blow spots. So watch and listen and learn. That's all. And make sure if you're out of harmony, like if I'm out of harmony, I've got to learn my lessons. I have to accept that the things that I need to learn are going to be there. That was his moderator he beat up? What? Oh, this is sick. He beat up his moderator? Oh my God. I'm sickened. That is terrible. Why would you beat up your moderator? And then he was telling me we want to get a hotel room at the end. I take pictures. I keep an archive of everything, family, because I want to know I want to remember who's naughty and nice for Santa comes. When Santa comes. I was so saddened to see this. Like, I didn't believe it. I thought it was being punked when they sent me the video. He was knocking this man out. He was drunk. It was terrible. It was so abusive. And then he kept calling him gay gay names. I was like, that's so mean. This is against the law. Like, how do you get away with it? Then he said he's going to wake up in jail. He should. You don't beat up someone, and you certainly don't beat up your moderator, and then you're mad at him because he's gay. Maybe you're attracted to him. Maybe you're suffering from your own denial of who you are. I think he's a gay man, and I think he's mad at himself being gay, and he's abusing another gay man, and that's wrong. Yes, I think he's a gay man, and there's nothing, he should come out about it because he's the one that was violated by Bombada. And it's similar. The guy looked very similar to Bombada too, right? I think he's a gay man, and it's very wrong. Like, you don't like yourself. You don't beat up another gay man because you don't like yourself. How dare you abuse him? Sickening. I hope he does get in trouble for doing that. I've got the tape. If the authorities want the tape, I've got it. Many people probably saved it. I saw him doing that abuse, and I saved it because that man should get justice. And his moderator too. That's so mean. How dare you beat up that man on the street? It's all coming out of the closet. How dare you? You're a nasty man. That was so mean. He didn't deserve that, and he could have hit his head and got sick or died. Sickos. Anyway, I hope he gets in trouble for that. But Saturn let us see it. See, Saturn's coming to town, so he isn't able to hide himself. This is all coming out of the closet, family. Watch, and if your karma and my karma and anyone karma comes, let's resolve it. Let's pay our bill because we did our deeds. Let's pay our bills and keep it moving because I want to be able to travel. So I have to pay for whatever I need to pay for, learn the lesson, and I want to keep it moving so I can move forward. Okay, and I suggest you do the same. All right, so welcome to 2012, family. I hope I know this video was all over the place. And I apologize to anyone who felt offended yesterday. I won't apologize for the actual message because it was necessary. But I apologize to those who are very hypersensitive towards it. It was a message that was meant. And I feel like if you are someone who feels anxiety by me sharing that men who are cruel to women will be held accountable, then I, sir, question your motivation and your consciousness. All right? Booyah. I love you, family. Have a masterful day. Uh-oh. Who's this behind me? Uh-oh. Okay. All right. I got it. There's a whole bunch of anyway. And also, oh, wait, before I go. Mindful of the cars that people are buying. I noticed that a lot of people are buying Lamborghinis. I have a Lamborghini behind me. The guy across the street bought a Lamborghini. Be mindful of the cars. A lot of people are buying really fancy cars that normally can't afford it. That also lets you know we're at the end of times, because people are like, screw it. If the world is going to change, I'm going to buy your Lamborghini. We have a lot of Lamborghinis and Corvettes being bought here out of it. It's always been here. But I notice more so than ever, I think because they know that this is the last hurrah. Anyway, family, I love you. Have a masterful day, and I'll see you later. Peace.